Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in. Gathered friends, listen again to Binging Barbie. This is a podcast about movie tides for toy franchises. Usually we're talking about the movies, but today we're going to be taking this in a different direction. So I'm your host, Jay, and we are going to be doing a bonus episode explaining Bionicle lore. I have two experts here, a panel of experts, I guess. You've heard their voices before if you've been listening to the Bionicle series. We have Toa Legend
Hello.
and Sam.
Ahoy! I'm back.
Yeah.
Yeah, glad to be back for the lore episode.
Yeah, for the good Bionicle story.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a shame
I
they
don't know.
never
It's the part
adapted
that I like
these.
the most. Yeah, but I think it sort of
Yeah.
goes back to what we were talking about in the last one of like, this is the darkest story, and I think parents would not have approved of, especially like the Anika stuff getting turned into a movie or whatever.
Yeah.
It definitely like there are most of the stuff that they like show in the advertising is like, pretty family friendly. But yeah, when you start reading some of the books or the comic books, there are some dark moments in there that I was not expecting, even upon review.
Yeah.
But in some ways, I think that adds to it too. They got a little bit more creative freedom with not having to display everything in a movie format. So
Yeah.
there's disadvantages and advantages along the way.
Yeah.
So yeah, the reason we're doing this episode is because there's a bit of a gap between the Web of Shadows Bionicle movie and then the Bionicle: The Legend Reborn. And in that gap, a whole lot of lore happens. So rather than trying to squeeze that into one of those two episodes, we're just doing a big lore episode, getting into all of the stuff that happens, all of the craziness. Yeah, in preparation for The Legend Reborn, which is sort of a soft reboot of the franchise. They kind of
Yeah.
introduce new
Yeah.
characters and new location and kind of separate from the story that we've already seen, but still tied to the lore. Different from
Yeah.
the hard reboot that they then later do with the 2015 series.
Yeah.
Yes. Very much so.
But yeah, just to start out with the story thus far, this is Bionicle from 2001 to 2005. So we've already discussed some of this on the podcast, but I thought it would be prudent to go through some of this because it's a lot. It's a lot of stuff, a lot to keep track of, a lot of characters. I've tried to just bare bones, the bare minimum here to keep things a little bit. But we're going to, obviously, this is a lore episode, so we're going to be digging into everything more in depth after the summary here. But yeah, Takua, a Matoran, awakens on the tropical island of Mata Nui. And then he travels around the island interacting with the various villagers. They're all Matoran in these little villages that they live on based on which element they correspond to. And we meet several important characters, mainly Jaller, Holly, and Matoro. And each of these villages are led by the Turaga, who are wise older figures who hold many of the secrets of the island. And at this point, they've kind of been on the island for 2 years or so. And then in his journeys, Takua also comes across the Toa, who are these 6 elemental heroes who have come from the sky to protect the Matoran and reawaken their deity, the Great Spirit of Mata Nui, who has fallen asleep somehow. We will eventually find that out. But yeah, the Toa and the Matoran team up and they defeat Makuta, who's sort of the big bad of the series. He's an evil entity, sometimes described as the brother of Mata Nui, but there's lore stuff that we don't need
That
to.
got retconned.
Yeah, that's
Pretty
a
much
retcon.
like that's how it started, was like he's the brother, and then as
Yeah.
things went on it was like, well, actually no.
I think
Yeah,
like part of how they retconned it too is it was like, well, it's actually, him just like being overly egotistical and being like, yeah, I'm the brother of God. Which isn't the best explanation, but
It's not
I
the
applaud
worst
them for
one
giving a
though.
try. Yeah.
It's not, their masks are actually different masks but look like other masks because they're the Secret Service or whatever.
Yep, that's very true. Yeah.
But yeah,
We get
yeah,
at the end of the day, like as we go through the lore, Bionicle is a multimedia series. It is essentially a comic book series, right?
Yeah.
And so we get a lot of comic tropes and comic style retcons throughout. The story isn't perfect, but I definitely am in love with this story.
Well, I also write like it is the legend of the Bionicle, right? Like, so there could be
Mhm.
different tellings or like different interpretations of the stories in such a way
Oh,
that
sure.
like what's yeah. Well, and that's we could or I think you guys kind of had a conversation in the Mask of Light episode about like what's canon or what's not canon. I'm like, it doesn't matter really because like the story's here and we're gonna enjoy it for what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's
yeah,
that sort
It,
of ambiguity kind of built into it.
yeah, I think so too. And we'll get into later on. We get a whole multiversal thing that happens, but
Yep,
um,
we sure
that
do.
opens it up to infinite possibilities. Of course,
So
yeah,
it's a fun time. But yeah, I do think there's some inconsistencies maybe throughout that add to the mystique. The one, as I was looking through lore, that was like it's not an inconsistency per se, but it's just weird. I was looking at like the actual time that all of
mm-hmm.
this takes place in, and it's like the entirety. Like if we take out like the flashbacks to Metro Nui
Yeah.
beforehand, the entirety of like the Bionicle timeline takes place over the course of 1 year in universe.
Wild.
Doesn't seem right.
No, it doesn't.
But I
Also
mean,
how comic books work.
yeah. But then also like the parts of like Legends of Metro Nui and um Web of Shadows, that whole section beforehand takes 1,000 years. So it's
Right.
like
It's like
scaling
we just
very
got to
weird.
Mata Nui and now we're turning around and going back.
Yep. Yep. It took them 1,000 years to transport every single Matoran over there, and then they're like, "Yeah, we can go back in like a couple days, I guess."
So yeah, on the island of Mata Nui, at the beginning of this 1 year where this all takes place, they defeat the Borak Swarm twice because the sets were popular enough that they brought them back as more powerful versions. But these are like strange creatures who
Mhm.
kind of destroy everything on the island in their path until they're stopped. Um, and then the Toa are mutated into the more powerful Toa Nuva, um, in the process of these various battles are going on in and then one day Takua comes across the powerful Mask of Light. This is the story covered in the first Mask of Light movie, and goes on this big quest, and at the end he puts on the mask and becomes Taka Nuva, the Toa of Light, and together with the inhabitants of Mata Nui he unlocks the way to the ancient city of Metru Nui. And here we get a flashback in the story. I assume they were kind of trying to figure out what to do with the story going forward. So they kind of bought themselves a
Yeah,
little bit of time by flashing backward.
yeah, I believe so as well. The major overarching plot was decided like very early on. They knew that like the whole arc was going to be
Yeah.
awakening Matanui. That was the whole thing.
Right.
But it got a lot bigger than they anticipated, and so some of the story elements. Initially, they were going to go to a different set of islands before they made their way to what is now Metro Nui. Um, but they decided they need to really flesh out the rest of the story. I think and they were like, okay,
Yeah.
let's set up this world a little bit. We'll go back in time, figure some things out, and then we'll keep moving forward.
Did they need to go back in time 10,000 years? Absolutely not. But they were like, why
Yeah.
not?
So yeah, this is the story that Turaga Vakama tells, and is himself the protagonist of. This is the story told with the Legends of Metro Nui and Web of Shadows movies, but um, this is years before all of this is happening, thousands of years. And the city of Metronui is in a decline. The Matoran are disappearing. There are Toa who are going missing and getting killed. And the only Toa left is Toa Legend, who's trying to watch over the city. And meanwhile, the leader, Turaga Duma, has instituted major restrictions, basically a totalitarian regime, to try and keep the peace. And in this, Toa Khan decides that he needs to recruit 6 new Toa from among the Matoran. Um, and they go on big adventures and then eventually find out that Turaga Duma is actually Makuta in disguise. Um, and he puts all of the
Oh,
Matoran of the city to sleep in these little canisters and then puts the spirit of Matanui to sleep. So now we're figuring out how that happened. And after an arduous mission, the Toa are able to rescue the Matoran and take them far away to the island of Matanui, where we started. So we're connecting back to the beginning there. And then they turn into Turaga in order to reawaken all of the Matoran. So yeah, that connects us back to the start of the sort of, I've heard it called the Ignition trilogy. These sort of 3 years of Bionicle lore
Yeah.
that take place between the Web of Shadows movie and the Legend Reborn movie.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
the other thing to note, right, is that the reason that there are Toa canisters and these Matoran canisters in world is because that's
Yeah.
what the Lego sets come in. They come in these little cool canisters, and then that's cool because you can fit your built little guy back in the canister and put him on the shelf when he's not being an action figure on top of your dresser or whatever.
Yeah. And cool things about the sets between 2001 and 2004, they kind of kept similar canister designs throughout. In
Yeah.
2004, though, they had a really cool thing that they did where if you got the lids of 2 Toa canisters and put them together, that's what made the shape of the Matoran
Oh
canisters in the
yeah.
movies.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Um,
That's really cool.
yeah. Whereas like the Matoran, when they came in just like the standard box
Right.
that a lot of the Matoran sets came in. But yeah, it was a cool movie detail. I don't know if that was something that like the animation studio was like, oh, we'll do that, or if that was designed by Lego. Probably designed by Lego to some degree, but
Yeah.
yeah, really good incorporation of that. Over this time as well, we see the Bionicle sets that we have turn from like I guess play sets to some degree a little bit more action figure-y.
Yeah.
We see more projectiles being included. In 2001, there were maybe like 1 or 2 projectiles, but they were very, very limited. Versus in 2005, with Web of Shadows, everybody had a spinner.
Yep.
So we're seeing that being propagated a little bit more. And then we're also seeing
They get knees
the
and
Lego
elbows.
bending knees and elbows, which we love, posability. And we're also getting a little bit edgier as the story goes on. The marketing is going from this mysterious island with cool robot guys to angsty half beast robotic beings fighting evil, but
Yep.
also themselves.
And
Yes.
Rudaka's there.
Very
And
important.
Rudaka's there.
And Rudaka's there.
And so
Listen, I did not care about Rudaka, and then we talked about that movie, and now I'm like, Rudaka's the best Bionicle character, actually.
she's great. They keep her around too afterwards.
I know.
They do a lot with her. When I was going through notes last night, I was like, oh, I could interject Rudaka here, but she's like not part of the foreground of any of these parts. She's just always there though.
She's doing her like gaslight gatekeep girl boss stuff in the background. It's fine.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Just know
And
that
we can bring her up
she's
when
there.
she's relevant.
Uh,
The summary I wrote out was very bare bones, so if you have anything to add at any point.
I'm gonna say, well, that's the thing is like once we get into like the 2008 stuff, it's like there's so much going on that we don't see as part of like the main story
yeah, it
because we're
explodes.
all headed towards the end point of the 2008 story. But
Yeah.
before we get there, what if there was a mask that was life, and if it was destroyed, all life would end?
That sounds like it would be a big bummer, but it could be helpful if a certain life was ending.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
So at the end of 2005, it ends with, all of the Vakama's told his stories. They're finally at Metro Nui and they're getting all set up. And mind you, during this whole time, Turaga Duma, the real Turaga Duma, has been reawakened, and he's kind of using his little Turaga mask power to fix the city, as well as the Rahaga are helping him too. Cleaning things up, putting the animals back in the archives, things like that. And as they're doing that, Duma pulls the Turaga aside and tells them a secret, and they're like, "Okay, I guess we should probably tell the Toa." And they pull the Toa Nuva down. They're like, "Hey, bit of an issue. We were looking at the stars, and the stars say that the universe is going to die. Mata Nui is not just asleep; he's dying." They're like, "Oh, okay. So what do we do?" And he's like, "Well, it's okay because we've got a MacGuffin. If you
Listen,
go to an
it's
island,
Bionicle. You know there's a mask involved.
there." Their phrase is, "There's a mask for that." Yeah.
Yeah, honestly. I need to get to another dimension and portal over there. There's a mask for that.
There's a mask for that. Yeah. So they find out about this legendary Kanohi Ignika, the Mask of Life, which is said to have is like the most powerful bionicle mask out there. It can do pretty much anything, but it's very much in charge of life and in death and a lot of other things. It's like if you want to put a power scale on a lot of the masks, there are some masks that are like solid, like a mask of shielding. There are some masks that are just
Yeah.
like situational, like a mask of water breathing or night vision. And then there's the Kanohi Ignika, which is like it can do everything if it wants to, I guess.
Yeah.
We'll get a little bit more into that. But they know that there's this legendary mask of life, but the Toa Nuva have to go get it. It's very far away. And they have to get there, hopefully be able to retrieve it, and then figure out what they're doing from that point forward. So they set out to this new island, which is called Voyanui. Voyanui, in the Matoran, translating to Great Journey, which, yeah, I would say they were on a great journey. It's very isolated. It's very far away. It's it has Matoran on it and a few Rahi. This is actually part of a bigger continent that broke off from another part that we find out about later. Basically, when the Great Cataclysm happened, when Mata Nui was first put to sleep, there was a big earthquake. Lots of the earth shifted. This whole island was essentially trashed, and the other part of it split and sank, and basically half the Matoran died, or so they think.
Yep.
So,
Bummer.
and their single Turaga that they had died as well.
Yeah.
So they're kind of on their own, trying to figure things out. There's not much drinkable water. There's not much food. There's not very many Rahi. They're just scraping by. And good for them. One day, they're just going along, and they look out on the ocean. They see a canister on the beach. They're like, "Wait a minute! There's Toa. They've finally come to save us. It's super exciting." And the Toa get out, and they look a little bit weirder than normal. Maybe a little bit more powerful than Toa that they've recognized.
It's
But
been a while since there's been a Toa over here.
yeah, they're
it's
just a little
fine.
island far south. Like, what do they know? And then they realize, wait, these Toa aren't wearing masks. They've just got these giant grins on their faces. And they're not very nice. And they don't seem to be very interested in helping us. They're just making us like dig a lot of things and build them a stronghold. I don't really know what's going on.
They're not
And
very united either. Like,
yeah,
as for the three values, like, eh, for the
unity.
three
Yeah, who needs
virtues,
it?
yeah.
Um, before they know it, all the Matoran are getting this weird feeling about their new visitors, and the new visitors are not so great about hiding the fact that maybe they aren't Toa. And as the Matoran start to realize this, they're all gathered together by these newcomers for a bit of an explanation. And rather than an explanation, they instead get shot a lot
And mind
by these
controlled.
yeah by these giant green Zamor spheres is what they're called. And what it allows these newcomers to do is control the Matoran. These newcomers are called the Paraka. Now, the Paraka as a word in Matoran, by the way, at this point has deviated very much so from the language of Te Reo Maori to now it's kind of its own thing. There's some people that have done some like how to speak Matoran and different parts of it. Very interesting stuff, very complicated stuff. Um, but at this point, Matoran has some of its own words, and Paraka is one of them, which is it's essentially a curse word in Matoran for thief and liar. And these people, these newcomers, branded themselves as such. They were dark hunters, who tried to overthrow the leader of the Dark Hunters and then got punished for that and then got really upsetty about that and decided to go raid the Makuta's lair and go off on their own. And then when they get to the Makuta's lair, they suddenly get this really brilliant idea that, hey, maybe I should go search for the Mask of Life. They all simultaneously got that same idea while inside a lair of someone who can communicate telepathically.
Yeah.
Crazy coincidence, huh?
Yeah.
Definitely won't come back
It's
in
probably
any
a mask
way,
doing it
shape,
to
or
him.
form.
No. And also at the same time, the green Paraka gets really jazzed about this glowing green liquid that they find there that they bring with them on their journey to Voyanui. Now, they know that there are Matoran on the village or on the island, and so they decide, okay, we'll pose as Toa. We'll get their trust. That way, we won't have to worry about fighting anyone, and then we can make them do all the dirty work looking for this Mask of Life. And that goes pretty well. And in the meantime, one of them figures out, hey, if we use this green glowy stuff that our green guy likes and shoot them with it, they become enslaved. And so all of them, aside from 6, get enslaved by them. And
Magic
it's
number.
not super great. Yeah, magic
It's
number.
a good number for selling toys.
It really
Enough
is.
that you can like collect them all
Yeah.
without feeling like you've spent too much money, but enough that they feel like they've sold a lot of them. It's like that.
Yeah. And it's such a strange coincidence that specifically it's 6 from the 6
One-
different
yeah.
tribes and specifically the same masks as
The
sets
Toa.
2 years ago.
Convenient.
Yeah. Huh. It's like we don't have to
Crazy
make new
coincidence.
pieces.
But yeah,
also
so
these Matoran are weird because
Mhm.
Karzani.
yeah, we'll get into.
We don't have to get
who-
into that. It's a lot.
Oh no,
but,
we
like,
will get into it. It's
oh,
part
joy!
of the
All
story.
right, great.
They're a little bit messed up. These Matoran look different. They're not all together, but they have strong weapons. And that's how they've kept themselves alive. Around this time, the real Toa show up. And the Toa Nuva, they're like, okay, we're ready. We're stronger than ever. We're better than ever. We can do this. And it's a big, long fight with the Paraka, and
They
they
get wharfed.
lose brutally. Yeah.
They get warped.
And they also get bodied by a giant on the island.
Oh, I'm sure
known
he's
as
a nice
Brutaka.
person based on that name.
And yeah, with the name Brutaka, definitely not brutal or anything.
Yeah.
This is when the names start to get fun because they're definitely basing like the Paraka and Piranha because they have big teeth, and yeah, the names start to get kind of fun here.
Yeah, it's a fun little like. It's like how Pokemon uses puns to name their characters. We get a little bit of that here too.
Yeah, for sure.
Not that the names weren't fun before.
Yeah, and so Brutaka, Brutaka at this point, he's introduced as a member of this secret order, and this is where we're introducing a new faction. Previously, we've had the Toa, we have a Makuta. The Makuta.
There's only one.
There's only one.
Makuta.
Yeah. And then we have the Dark Hunters. The Order of Matanui is kind of they're on the side of the Toa, but they're kind of like a mix between the Illuminati and like the CIA. They're like influencing things from the shadows, but not getting too involved.
And they will do bad stuff to achieve their goals. They are very like ends oriented.
Yeah, they're very much like they are comprised a lot of the members are Toa, and while the Toa are sworn to not kill, that's actually a big part of their morality is that Toa do not kill. The Order of Matanui is kind of exempt from that, I guess.
Yeah.
They're led by the first Toa ever created, Helrix. She's a Toa of water. She's very cool. She won't come up too much in the story, but I will bring her up again, so I'll introduce her here. She's awesome. She's never had a set release. So that'll tell you how much of a main character she is for main story stuff. She does a lot of behind the scenes stuff. But this faction stationed a few guards on Voyanui to protect the Mask of Life. Two of them are Brutaka, the guy that I just talked about, and another guy called Axon.
He's got a big axe.
Yeah, if you couldn't guess what his weapon was.
He has like articulated fingers, correct?
Yeah.
Like
he's the first one with fully articulated fingers.
Whoa.
And it is both really cool and a little bit weird because his hands are like bigger than his entire torso. But we love Axon.
They don't have to make sense. They're Lego sets.
No. They're robots,
They're robots.
Robots don't make sense.
Biological robots.
Yeah. So Brutaka at this point has seized the Toa, and the Paraka are like, okay, well, we're not stupid. Let's just go ahead and kill them. And that's kind of where we leave off with these guys, which is great. Honestly, when I first read it, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I would kill them if I was evil. I wouldn't want them to stay alive. And while all this is happening, we're back on Metro Nui. The vibes are off. They're not great. Everybody, all the Turaga are being real quiet about something. The Toa are nowhere to be found. And at a certain point, the Matoran are like, what's up?
Yeah.
Jaller, being a major leader of especially the Tamatoran, is like, hey, Vakama, you gotta tell us what's going on. Like, you made us move to an entirely new island. Why? What's going on?
Now our protectors are gone.
Yeah, we've got Takanuva, which is great, but like,
he's one guy and he's just practicing playing his lacrosse game over and over.
Yeah. He just got a growth spurt like a week ago, man. Like, he doesn't know what's going on. And at a certain point, Joller's like, you know what? If you're not gonna tell us anything, we're gonna strike. We're not gonna work. We're not gonna clean up the city. We'll just vibe until you tell us what's going on.
Now, I love this for Joller. Like, get compensated for your labor. However, what do the Matoran do all day? What are they going on strike from?
So
what economic impact does this have?
I can't explain that actually.
Oh, Joel. Okay,
They
great.
Yeah, so at this point, you know, a lot of what they're doing is just trying to clean up the city. A big part of what Vakama knows needs to be done in order for Matanui to be awakened is that the city needs to be mostly restored, and especially the Great Furnace needs to be restored to
Oh,
full
okay.
functionality. The Great Furnace, we find out later, is a big power source.
Yeah.
Without saying too much,
It's
it
like,
is important.
yeah, the city of Metro Nui is like, yeah,
Yeah,
it's important.
it is very important. So he's like, all right, we're not doing anything until you tell us what's up. And the Turaga are like, I don't want to cause a mass panic and tell everybody that the universe is dying. And they're all arguing, and Nokama is just like, okay, I I've got a solution. And she just like pulls Jaller aside and is like, look, I'm gonna tell you what's up. Don't narc on me, but like you should probably know, is all I'm gonna say. And so she tells him, and he's like, oh, okay. I mean, kind of rude that they didn't tell us, but I guess I get it. Uh, you know, but they've been gone for like a few weeks now. Like, shouldn't we be working with them together? Shouldn't we have somebody go check on them, see if they're okay? And he eventually gets frustrated and he's like, okay, I'm gonna put together a bit of a rescue force, and we'll see what we can do with specifically 6 Matoran from, let's say, 6 different tribes
Wait,
that all
what?
have the same masks as the original Toa heroes had in 2001.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just because
Do they get set releases as Matoran here?
they don't get set releases here as Matoran.
Okay.
They
But they
have,
did in the like 2001 post
correct.
McDonald's
All of these
area.
have either been released in 2001 or 2003.
Okay.
Jaller, Matoro,
Right.
and like a lot of them were released as the Mictoran, and then like Nuparo, for instance, was released with his Boxar set, where
Sure.
it's like a giant boxer
Great.
robot thing. Yeah, it's great. Now, I will say the team that he chose is probably some of the best of the Matoran Choo-Choos that we've been introduced to. And mind you, mainline story stuff, you don't meet a lot of Matoran.
No.
But in a lot of the games and stuff, they do have a lot of different Matoran. And so they actually, the ones that they chose were actually pretty solid. I know a lot of it comes from like, oh, what mask looks like the new mask that they're going to release for
Sure.
for this upcoming set. But the ones that they chose were actually great. Obviously, Joller's on this mission. He's the captain of the guard. He knows what's up. He's not going to let the universe fall while he's on watch. There's Holly, who we've met previously. She's the new chronicler, and she's like, well, if there's a story going on, I'm going to follow. She's also a great athlete, so kind of makes sense. She can keep up. They bring I'm actually going to skip them. They bring Uparu. We'll go back to that one at
So
the
the
end.
most important one of them?
Yeah. They bring Nuparu, who is a great inventor, probably one of the smartest of the Matoran. So it makes sense to bring him. Huki,
Yep.
who is a pro athlete. He's a good dude. He's a very nice guy, but he's also strong and capable. And then they bring Kongu, who is probably the best flyer they know and the captain of the like Air Force essentially for them. And then of them, they also bring along Matoro. Matoro is a little co-Matoran, little Matoran of ice that Jaller has become friends with over time. And he's not like the most academic. He's not the strongest. He is an athlete, but he's more like he's on the sports team and not a pro athlete, you know?
He's sitting on the bench most games, yeah.
Yeah, he's doing intramurals. Uh, but the important part is Motoro has been Nuju's translator ever since Nuju decided to reject regular speech and only speak bird.
Which, yeah, sure hope Nuju doesn't have anything to say to anyone since Motoro's
Yeah.
leaving. But
He's gone mute at this point. um, and Motoro, because of this, is one, really good at keeping secrets, and two, knows all of the Taraga secrets. He's been there when they've discussed everything except for when they first discussed um, the the dying of the universe. He wasn't there for that because Duma didn't trust him. Duma's got
Right.
trust issues. I think that's fair after being impersonated
yeah.
And shoved into a pod for like 1,000 years. But it's whatever. But so Motoro's got a lot of information, and he's still not really willing to share all of it. Part of his job has been to keep a secret, so he feels a little bit weird about sharing all of the details. But
Right.
he does feel like he has to go along because he knows some of this stuff. He can maybe not even with telling people, but with like his own actions, be able to prevent some issues. And so that's the team of Matoran, as well as Takanuva. He joins them, which Takanuva was going to join the Toa Nuva initially, but Duma was like, no, we need you here in case something happens. And Takanuva was like, wait, what's going to happen here? And Duma's like, I don't know, but we need you here. So Takanuva at this point is like, no, I'm going to go. I haven't seen them in a while, and now I feel bad.
Yeah.
So this team of 6 Matoran and a Toa discover a secret passageway under Metro Nui, through which they walk a long time until they get to this new island, an island called Karzani. There's a whole arc here.
Oh boy.
Karzani is, in the Matoran language, both the name of like this mythical ruler, more of a tyrant, I suppose, and also kind of their word for hell, because Karzani's domain, the island of Karzani, was said to be where Matoran would go when they were being bad, and after a while, they never heard back from any of the Matoran that were sent there. So they show up on this mythical island and find out, oh, it's real. And also, it's got like a light barrier around it, so Takanuva can't go in for whatever reason.
Plot
Kind of
reasons.
a bit of, yeah, it's kind of a bit of a like, okay, it makes sense for Takanuva to join them, but we also got to get rid of him for the sake of the plot. So
he doesn't have a Lego set, so he can't be with them.
exactly. So he gets kicked out. He's like, all right, bye everyone. They go into this barrier and they can't escape, so they have to keep moving forward. And while they're there, they find out the truth of Karzani, in that Karzani is a real place. It's a real island. It's a real dude. And he's a little crazy. In fact, the stories of the Bionicle universes, Heaven and Hell, being Artaka and Karzani, respectively, are true, if a little bit weird. And that is that the two brothers were kind of assigned 2 different roles. Artaka was assigned the mask of creation and wields the ability to create new masks, new armor, pretty much whatever. And so his land is land of creation. Karzani was supposed to be kind of the repairman for Matoran, for anybody that was unable to get work done. They were supposed to go to Karzani. Karzani would fix them, ship them back. However, Karzani did not have the mask of creation and struggled a little bit and realized, okay, it's easier to just kind of like put a Band-Aid on them and then give them a gun, and then they'll be okay.
Healthcare.
So
And I'm gonna send them to a different place so that nobody knows that I'm messing up.
yeah, well, at first he kind of just distributes them back to random islands, and then after a while, people stop sending him Matoran, and he's like, okay, well then I don't want my Matoran to leave. They're mine. So he just
Sure.
kind of kept the rest of them. And kind of makes them work all day. It is more slave labor. This year introduces a lot of slave labor. Um, but this island is also really weird. Like fire is cold and will freeze you to
Ooh,
the
tenant
touch.
rules.
And if you sit on a rock for if you sit on a rock for too long,
Oh.
it steals your sentience and you become made of stone and it just
Fun.
screams. So yeah, it's a fun place. But so these new Matorans show up to his island. He's like, yes, finally. He's like, all right, well, let's strip you of your identity, steal your masks. You have to put on these new masks, and you're gonna work for me. And they're like, okay, okay, we don't want that. So they do for a little bit, and then they make a plan to escape. They found Toa canisters on the island, which Toa canisters are much bigger than Matoran canisters, because
Toa are bigger than Matoran.
yeah. And the designer of the canisters, who was a Matoran who was still on the island, is like, these are too big for you. You couldn't escape on this. You would probably die. And they're like, our alternative is be in hell forever. So maybe we'll try it. Karzani finds out. He rushes and he's like, I'm gonna stop you. And then Matoro, who's pretty great, is like, okay, you have the mask of nightmares, right? Which means that like you can see into what our worst nightmares would be. Which means you can also see what's been happening around the world if you look into my nightmares. Look into my nightmares and see what happens. And Karzani's like, all right, I'll do it. And the other times that this has happened, all the Matoran that this has happened to, like, kind of break down in fear. Motoro just like stares him in the eyes the whole time. It's such a cool scene.
Hmm.
And so Karzani's like, whoa, there's a whole world out there that I didn't know about, and I could conquer all these lands. I've got basically an army here. I could do that. And meanwhile, Motoro's like, all right, he's distracted. Get in the pods. Let's go.
A whole new world.
And they shoot
I
off in
mean,
these
yeah.
canisters to the southern island of Voyanui, where they arrive on the beaches of Voyanui. And thankfully, along the way, their Toa canisters, are struck by lightning from the red star, which we will not go into right now. And
It's a thing. It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing.
Right now, it's just a red star.
It's just a red
I
star.
think.
It's very pretty.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's an omen for Toa and things.
Yeah. And so they're struck by lightning, and when they get out of their canisters, they realize, oh, I'm a lot bigger now and stronger, and my friends all look different. Oh,
New Lego
we're
set
Toa
time.
now. New Lego set time.
Lego set time.
Yeah. And breaking just quickly into the sets for this year, because I think this is a good talking point.
Yeah, sure.
The sets for this year are very different. This is the first year where none of the sets have any gears on them, which is new for Bionicle. They've moved now into the posable action figure, and instead of having the gear as the mechanic for the toy, now we have lights. They put lights on pretty much everything. They put it on the swords. They put it on the Paraka eyes. Very cool. And they gave everybody a gun that shoots a little sphere out. The bad guys have the evil enslaving spheres, and the good guys have various flavors.
They do all taste different.
Unfortunately,
they are a choking hazard, though.
I like the blue ones the most. Yeah. Yeah.
Any young children listening to this, do not swallow things that are not meant to be swallowed.
Where are they going to? Oh, I thought you were just going to say, "Do not swallow the Xammer spheres," and I was going to be like, "Where are they going to get Xammer spheres in the
Do
year of
not go on
2024?"
eBay, buy some Xammer spheres, get them shipped to
The
you, and then
Zammersphere
inhale
challenge. We're
them.
gonna make it big on TikTok, assuming that's still a thing when this
I was
episode
going to say
posts.
Xammer is the new club drug of.
Yeah, you crush up the spheres.
Also, these sets, they have more rubbery plastic to them. So the Toa faces are just sort of like gradient colors, and then you put the mask on top of it, and it's like a more organic. And the way they explain this in the story is that their masks are more like organic, and when they take the mask off, their faces shine, and immediately let all their enemies know where they are.
Yeah.
And the Paraka 2 have like these heads that have much more like it's less hard plastic and much more like bendable. Like they have like I think the Technic pins on the end so they can clip into like the arms. But like this is not like hard plastic. We are experimenting with a sort of new materials. And part of that is the functionality for the Xammer spheres, because it's like a little pin that you push and it shoots the ball out, and then there's a like a rubber piece that will sort of automatically retract that pin back into place, so then the next Xammer sphere can fall into place and you can shoot.
Yeah. It's essentially a spring, but made out of a Lego
Rubber.
piece that's
Yeah.
wrapped. Yeah. So it is a very interesting year. They're very much experimenting both from the marketing side and with the set pieces to see what sticks with the new generation of Bionicle fans.
Mhm.
Especially now that we're returning to the main story after 2 years of backstory. They felt, I think, that they needed to um, kind of appeal to the new trends, and they noticed a trend towards edginess, as well as trying to reappeal to those old fans that are now into, you know, pop, punk rock, and uh,
Yeah.
various urban
It's
architecture.
very
I
like,
guess I don't know.
Yeah. The people who like chain link
yeah,
fences is who these ads are for.
Yeah,
Or people who don't like them actually because they shoot them down.
I guess that's true. Yeah, they
this is
abuse
like
those chain link fences.
in middle school. I think I had a Bible that was like a hard metal shell, like that. That's the demographic they're going for. Like the
Oh, I thought you were gonna say the content of the Bible was all like changed to appeal to the youths.
nope, I didn't have that version. But yeah, just like a solid metal, like all of that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
every everything was metal.
except the music,
Great.
which was alt rock.
Yeah,
We'll
very
get
much
into
so.
that. I have some things to say on the music. Good things, but
Yeah,
things.
Yeah.
yeah. So these sets are completely different this year. They're experimenting a lot. They're adding a lot new armor pieces and making all the sets taller and keeping with that articulation, adding a lot more detail. This is at this point still Lego's like flagship product that they're trying to appeal to everyone. Aside from like Lego Star Wars at this point is probably
Yeah,
either the
this is
next
like
biggest or
Lego
the
Star
biggest.
Wars is probably up there.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's those two right now are probably their biggest ones. But they're pushing forward with Bionicle. And with that, they're pushing forward, especially with the story. So at this point in the story, the Toa Nuva have been captured. Their stuff has been taken from them, and they're being sent to be killed. Uh, there's an eruption, and they get saved and whatnot.
Yeah.
There's
This
a few
island, not attached to
shenanigans.
any landmass, does have an active volcano on it.
Correct. Literally floating above the waters has an active volcano.
It's the cord has something to do with it. Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
Sam, it's like we were
Yeah.
talking about before we started recording. It's astrology first, science second.
Yeah, exactly. It's very like lead with vibes and then come up
Yeah.
with the storytelling to back it up. And
Yeah,
don't worry about anything else.
surely. It's probably like, I don't know,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
Mask of Life or something. I don't know.
Yeah, sure.
If
We'll
you
say
can't
that.
explain it, the Mask of Life did it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It was the
Exactly.
will of Matanui.
Yeah. So the Toa Nuva at this point, they're like rescued, but they don't have any of their masks or their weapons. So all they really have is their elemental abilities, which are weakened with no mask powers. Um, so they're like, okay, well we gotta go get our stuff. And in the meantime, they run into the Matoran, who are like, okay, who are you guys? And they're like, oh, we're Toa. And they're like, okay, the last time somebody said that, they enslaved all my friends, so prove it. And the Toa were like, we don't have time for this. And the Matoran were like, we don't have time for this. And they start fighting. And Dalu, the blue Matoran, almost kills Gali. That's fun. At one point, Tahu puts like a wall of fire in front of them and is like, this is like, I'm putting a shield between us so we can talk or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And they they keep like smack talking, and Kopaka's like, I've had enough of this. Walks through the flame just to like beat him up and get moving. And it's really awesome. But then Axon shows up and is like, okay, everybody please chill. We're all on the same team. We'll work through this. And the Matoran, a few of which know Axon at this point, are like, oh, okay, if you say they're good, I guess we'll trust you. So all this is happening. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, one of these Matoran, it does not matter. I don't think it comes back in any way. One of these Matoran is just a greater being posing as a Matoran for reasons,
Yeah.
for the
And
fun
right
of it.
now, his favorite pastime is to mess with the Ice Matoran, because he's just like, I'm gonna say some really
He says like
like
cryptic riddles and stuff. Like that's
yeah,
fully all
like
he does is just
proverbs.
hang out and say riddles.
And the white Matoran is just like, that doesn't make sense. Just say normal words, please.
Yeah, a god decided to become Gollum and mess with everyone else. Like,
Yeah, literally. It's so good. So these Matoran, they're like, okay, we're gonna try and get you to get your stuff. We're gonna maybe see if we can replicate those launchers and see if we can shoot the green balls at them. Anyways, that doesn't go great. The Toa Nuva get captured again, but they did make launchers. The Matoran did,
oh,
um,
nice.
and
Now the Matoran have
the
guns.
the Matoran have guns. But they're like, I don't know if we should be shooting the green. Like, I don't know how to get the green goo to make into the ball to shoot. The new Toa show up, have a few fights with the Paraka. Find out now that they're not just regular Toa; they are infused with lightning powers as well. So each of their regular element is also combined with electricity. Very cool. They're able to hold them their own a little bit better against the Paraka. Um, and the Matoran give them the launchers, and Axon is like, hey, I have this other shiny liquid you should put into the balls and shoot at them. And it does different things sometimes. We find out later the shiny stuff is energized protodermis,
Oh,
which,
joy.
yeah, which is kind of another MacGuffin. It's
It
how,
yeah.
yeah, it's how Makuta made the Rakshi. It's the stuff that Makuta and Takanuva fell into in the first movie that merged them into
Yeah.
Kutanuva. It's what
It turned
made.
the Toa Mata into the Toa Nuva. True.
Yep.
So yeah, energized protodermis. Jay, this is how it works. If something falls into it and is destined to become something else, it will become that other thing. And if it's not destined to do that,
Ah,
it will be destroyed.
Completely and
Fully,
utterly.
it's just plot reasons as
magic plot
as
juice.
a thing.
It's like a plot coin flip. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. So it's great. But anyways, they put that into the balls, and they now have magic projectiles that do different things. That I'm sure somebody that knew the lore a little bit better would know the different color significance. I don't, because they're used maybe 4 times, only one of which is important.
It's for the
Really,
toys. It's so that you have your toy and you
These
know
are the
what it
toys.
does, and then you can fight with your friends.
Right.
Don't
That too.
choke on it.
They do always, if you hit a Matoran that's already been mind
Okay.
controlled, it always frees them though. That
Oh,
is
that's
one
good.
thing I do know. And that's because the green stuff that they've been shooting into the Matoran is called antidermis. We'll get into what that is later.
A
But
reasonable term, sure.
yeah, we've got protodermis and antidermis.
And it can be energized or not energized.
Uh, correct. Regular water, that's protodermis. That's why there's a
is
sea
it?
of protodermis. Yeah.
I fully just thought it was another
Isn't the
thing
water
that was
around
just like,
Mata Nui like
we need to fix
water,
them.
and then
Well, no, but it's also
No, that's
yes,
actual water. Yeah, that's
because it's also different
Yeah.
from the water element, which is important.
correct. But also protodermis can be hardened and turned into metals, which is what most everything in like most creatures
Yeah.
are made of. Proto steel. Just put proto in front of something, you'll figure it out.
It
Yeah,
sounds
yeah.
sci-fi.
Yeah,
It's good. You
it's
can
great.
tell what it is from context, and it's a good
Yeah.
science fiction word.
Yeah, it's pretty great. So at this point, they're freeing some of the Matoran, and the Paraka finally understand what's going on. See, they thought, hey, the Mask of Life is probably the most protected thing on the island, so they probably buried it under the volcano, which would make sense.
Yeah, reasonable assumption to make.
But then at one point, they're like, wait a minute. This entire island is a desolate, barren wasteland of deserts and frozen tundras and not much life. But there's that one spot that just has like a crazy amount of trees. Have we thought of going there yet? And then they're like, oh, yeah, we could go
well,
there.
Listen, the Paraka are not very smart. It takes them a bit. Also, they're constantly betraying each
Fair.
other.
Yeah, that is a main theme is where previous years it is like you have a little bit of betrayal, especially between like Nadiki or not Nadiki, but Sidorak and Rudaka, a little bit between Nadiki and the former Toa. Um, but this year is like they're at each other's throats. They're making alliances. They are the opposite of unity, unless they know that they can use their partner to get more things. So they do end up making their way to the lush area of the island, and they're like, "Oh, there's like a door here. We found a door. We should go
Hey, I've
down,
seen
maybe."
Lost. There's like a hatch in
Yeah,
there, and you have to type numbers into the computer every hour or whatever.
exactly. Yeah, actually, this whole story is based off of Lost. At the end, they realize they're all dead.
They've been time traveling.
No, but so they make their way down the
Oh,
777 stairs. The book specifies this a lot of times.
I was gonna ask if it's like
Down to the
6 seems
mask.
to be the big number in Bionicle, so why was it at 666? But then I thought that and was like, oh, that makes sense
That's
why they
another
didn't do
thing.
that
Yeah,
number.
it's like it's
Yeah.
worse because it's
Yeah.
111 more.
Yeah. Well, also 7
There's
7 is
7
kind of the number
Toa.
of
Okay.
destiny in Bionicle, where 6 is like the one of the Matoran on Karzani actually explained he only made 6 canisters because he thought that that would be like his way of preventing a 7th Toa
Oh.
from existing.
Mm.
Because once a 7th Toa existed, that meant that there was enough darkness in the world that there
Okay.
needed to be a Toa of light. So it's a very interesting
It's like
Okay.
the
mythology
churches
in
that
there.
never get finished because if they finish them, the world will end.
Right.
Right, yeah. Yeah. Very similar vibes. So they start making their way down. The Toa realize, hey, we got to make our way down. I guess we got to not worry about the Toa Nuva. I'm sure the Matoran will figure that out. They're freeing their friends, so they don't really have anybody to fight. They just got to find the Toa Nuva. And so the Toa Inika is what this new team is called. Make their way down the staircase, and each of the teams have kind of different trials they have to face. One of them has to fight this guardian named Umbra, who has light powers,
He's cool
kind
looking.
of. He is cool. He's
Ooh.
got rollerblades on his feet. Pretty nifty.
On
Wheels
stairs.
around.
Okay.
Yes, on
That's
stairs.
a choice.
The Order of Madanui hated him, let me tell you. They put him down there, erected some stairs, and was like, all right, you're stuck. Sorry, bud. He is a set that is released that year that has probably the worst color scheme of any of them.
It's
but
like
has
black
a cool
and yellow. It's
black,
truly
yellow,
a
and
bad,
green. Very
uncohesive
weird color
character
scheme.
scheme.
And then he has two of the like Toa's blades as his like double bladed thing, but it's one of them glows blue and one of them's like red, so it doesn't match anything that he's already got. It's pretty rough. Pretty cool set though.
Listen, not everyone is ready for the fashion police to show up.
That is true. To be fair, this is probably the year of ugly side sets. We'll get to Botar, but he's ugly.
Oh yeah.
So the Matoran are freeing the Toa Nuva. All of the adventurers that have been going down have been kind of fighting each other and also undergoing their own trials. At one point, the Paraka are dropped into these like pods where it's like, hey, if one of you pulls the lever, you'll be free and everybody else will die. But if you all pull it at the same time, you'll all be free. One of the like, what is
The
it?
prisoner's dilemma.
Yeah. And so one of them's like, well, I'm just gonna pull the lever. They
Right.
do, and then they all drop into this like liquid that seems to not do anything, but it does do something because it has a little bit of energized protodermis in it.
Of course it does. Listen, it's Bionicle. If someone falls into a liquid, it didn't
Magic
do
plot
nothing.
juice.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
mad. Yeah. So they make their way down. They're fighting. At one point, actually, the Toa and Nika see like a few different visions, and at one point, one of the visions is they're fighting the Paraka, and they accidentally use their elemental abilities a little bit too much and kill the Paraka, and then the vision changes, and they realize, oh, these weren't the Paraka, these were actually the Toa Nuva, and we just killed all of them. And it's really dark. And then the story says, nope, psych, that was another vision. You guys didn't kill anyone. It was just for funsies. We just wanted to see what you guys would do. Pranked.
Just a prank, bro.
Got him.
Yeah. At this point, a lot of these like defense mechanisms are controlled by the Mask of Life. The Mask of Life, we find out through this experience, is at least partially sentient.
Yeah.
And as they get closer and closer, they realize there's one like final boss that is guarding the Mask of Life, and that is a former Paraka named Vizon. Vizon's got a little weird backstory, but basically he's used to be part of one of the other Paraka, and then somebody accidentally used the Spear of Fusion backwards and split him into Vizok and Vizon.
As you do.
Vizon in the Matoran universe, meaning double. Yep.
No, sure. Yeah, of course. It's the Spear of Fusion reversed. Of course. It splits them
Yeah.
apart.
Oh, the backwards, yeah. Righty tighty, lefty loosey. Spear of Fusion. Oopsie doopsie.
Yeah.
So Vizon actually had made it to the island before the rest of them because he got the brains part of Vizok.
Oh,
where
good.
Vizok got the bronze. So we've made it to the final boss. Turns out to be Vizon. Found the mask very quickly and then tried to put it on. And the mask was like, okay, you can put me on, but you can't access my powers. And I'm fused to your head now. And your feet are fused to a giant spider. And you can't die. So that's a plus.
Yeah. You got what you wanted.
Yeah. So Vizon is already a little bit crazy. This whole situation isn't helping. he's just kind of chilling in the lava pits with his giant spider, Fenrak, who Fenrak hates Vizon, by the way. It's a lovely situation to watch Vizon be like, "Hey, you're gonna be my buddy now," and Fenrak be like, "I want to eat you." He can't speak, but he does want to eat Vizon. It's great. They finally all get down there. The Paraka are not doing great, and the Toa are able to overpower them enough to then fight Vizon one-on-one. Motoro uses a special Zamor sphere that freezes him in time and space. And Motoro goes up to the Mask of Life to claim it. Now, throughout the journey they've been going on, Motoro has been challenged a little bit more than everybody else. One of the trials was one of them had to sacrifice themselves, and Motoro was like, "Okay, I'll do it." And they're like, "Okay, you don't actually need to sacrifice yourself."
A little too willing to sacrifice himself. Also,
Yeah.
he is a little guy, and it is his birthday, and he's just a little special birthday boy who knows secrets.
He's just a little guy.
He's just
He
a little
does
guy.
realizes that everybody else on the team is a little bit more prepared to be a Toa than he is. And so he's like, "Okay, if anybody has to go,
It's me.
it's me. I'm your scapegoat." um but he's been challenged. He also got kind of spooked on the way to Karzani. They had to go through like this really like shadowy area where no light could go through, and like their plan was, okay, what we'll do is we'll go in pairs and we'll just like we'll tie a rope between all of us and hold each other's hands to get through. And at one point, he slips and falls, and he goes to grab someone's hand, and he finds someone's hand, and he's like, "Oh, it's probably Holly. I'll help them up. Maybe that she got undone from the rope." And so they keep walking through, and they get out, and he looks at everybody else and realizes everybody else is already outside of the dark area. Whose hand am I holding? And it's a really spooky part of the book.
Yeah.
And later it's just like, oh, it was the Mask of Life. He just kind of sent like a little
Mask of Light was like,
dark.
my special boy needs a little help right now.
Yeah.
And,
yeah. We love him. But so he's been challenged over and over again. And at this point, the Mask of Life is like, I like this guy. If anybody can wear me, if anybody can use me, it's going to be this guy. And so he lets Motoro take the mask off of Vizon, and Motoro holds up the mask, and he's like, I got it, let's go. And then Vizon unfreezes, and the mask gets shot out of the room, and the mask kind of goes into flight mode and zooms away, flying out of the tunnel that they just walked all 777 steps down, and decides to plop itself in the ocean. They're like, great. And so they all chase after it, trying to figure out what's going on. And once they realize it's plopped into the ocean, they're like, okay, well, maybe we'll swim after it. Holly jumps into the water. Holly, being the best swimmer she can be, is like diving under the water. Mind you, she doesn't have a mask of water breathing, so she's just holding her breath.
Feels like that should be part of the Water Toa toolkit. Just
in general, yeah.
Yeah.
You'd think, but nah. No, instead, she currently has Mask of I get headache when I get too close to the Mask of Life. Kind of a bummer, but
the mask of
it was helpful.
Plot detection.
Yeah. At this moment, actually, Motoro is using his mask power to make his spirit leave his body and kind of see if he can follow the mask. And he kind of like zooms back to his body as soon as he sees it and wakes up, and he's like, Holly's drowning right now. And everyone's like, what? And of course, everybody else is like, we can't swim better than her. What do we do?
Yeah.
Luckily, she's saved by a weird little Matoran thing that comes out of the water and is like, help us. Our city is dying. And they're like, what? Who are you? And why are you underwater? Also, we have a lot of questions. He's like, too bad I'm dead. Doesn't really explain why he died, admittedly.
The
It might be that
bends?
he touched. I guess he
The
didn't even
bend.
touch the Mask of Life. Because
He
the
probably
Mask of Life
couldn't
just keeps
breathe
going.
air.
Yeah, but then also, like, he could just
Oh
go
wait,
back
no, the
underwater.
Matoran of Marinui do breathe air. Actually, they live in air bubbles. Never mind.
Yeah.
They do. Although this one probably at this point is a water breather.
Well, that's true. They get mutated by the mutagen in the pit because the plot needed another thing what
Not
could
muted.
mutate.
Yep. Everything mutates.
It's the toy set thing. You have to have new
Yes.
toy sets
Yes.
every few years. So you gotta
Yep.
Yeah. So anyway, the Toa and Nika start going down a stone pillar where they could reach the water, right?
Yeah. So like they go back. Essentially, they walk back. They're like, okay, I don't know how we're gonna get to it. And Axon's like, don't worry, I have plot. And at that point, the Toa Nuva are there, and they're like, oh sweet, we can all go together. Like 2 teams of Toa, we got this. And the
Yeah.
Toa Nuva are like, we got other things to do. Actually, we're gonna go do those other things.
12 is
But
too
like,
many for a set wave, so
yeah,
We listen, y'all have this. We have side quests to go do.
yeah, we didn't mutate this year, so
yeah.
we can't actually join you. We'll come back to the front of the pack when when we got new armor.
Yep.
Um, but so they're like, yeah, okay, you guys got to go get it. There's a secret passageway through that staircase you went down. If you just keep going further,
Yeah.
you can actually make your way down to the bottom of the ocean. They're like, oh, okay, cool. And in the books, the way that it describes it is the Toa Nuva, they're leaving, and they're like, good job, guys. You guys are super heroic and courageous. Like, awesome job. And Kopaka's like, did we just send them to their deaths? And
Oh.
Tahu's like, yeah, they're probably gonna die, honestly. Like, real talk. And it's really depressing.
Rip. And then there's a canceled book that talks about them walking down the stairs.
Yeah.
Um,
So they walk down the stairs. Vizon is down there, so they're kind of fighting him too. And also there's these creatures called the Zyglek, which are not important.
yeah,
But
don't worry about it.
they're like really dangerous and they kill a lot of things except for the Toa and Nika right now because they have to keep moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
They're the
Also,
toy
there's a
set for
bit.
this.
Yeah. Also, there's a
yeah.
bit where Matoro is astral projecting so much that Makuta goes in his body.
Is there a time where that happens?
No, it's in a canceled book.
Oh, in the canceled book? Okay.
These are things I learned from reading the summary of the canceled book. Is there's a bit in the canceled book where Matoro is gets his head hit and he astrals projecting with his mask, and then Makuta possesses his body, and for a while, folks are like, "Hey, Matoro, welcome back," and then I think Hyuki realizes, "Oh, that's not Matoro."
Yeah. That might actually be canon, just not in a released book.
Listen, it's the
Uh,
legend of the Bionicle.
yeah. To be fair, Bionicle, if it does one thing well, it does run with the punches. As soon as something is
Oh
like
yeah.
said, they're like, that's canon. We're going with it.
Well, and I wonder if part of that is too because of the like fan contests of like make the
Mhm.
lore or whatever.
Yeah, that's true.
Improv.
But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
it is.
Yes,
And,
and
well, and that's also how comic books work. Is also yes
yes.
and except for when we retcon a little bit as a treat.
Except for when we say no, but
Yes. Still, there's only one Makuta. There's only one.
There's only one. Don't think about it.
So they go down the
Um,
stone cord.
yeah, and we are introduced to a new location on the planet, and that is Marinui.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is an underwater town that broke off of Voyanui and sunk during the Great Cataclysm, big earthquake, giant landmass. It falls to the bottom of the ocean, and it's connected it's almost like a mountain on Marinui, but it's a cord that goes all the way to the surface to where Voyanui is. So if they knew about the secret passageway, the Matoran of Voyanui could have gone down to this
Right.
town, I guess, and vice versa, because this town is actually surrounded in a giant bubble of air. There are plants down there that produce air in bubbles. And so each day they send out these creatures called the Hydruka. The Hydruka go collect the air, they keep adding it to their city. It works out. It's not great. Like, there's a lot of dangerous things down there, and the mutagenic water is not fun to be in. But the Matoran are relatively okay. They're doing all right. And that's when everything gets screwed up by the Mask of Life dropping down there.
Yeah, pretty much.
We get one of the little dudes down there. His name is Dekar.
Rip Dekar.
Rip Dekar. He picks it up and he's like, "Oh, this feels dangerous. I'm going to take it back to my home and hide it." And he does that, and then that's when it attracts the attention of a new faction of people called the Baraki. The Baraki were these essentially ancient leaders and warlords that tried to like turn the entire universe against Mata Nui and take over, and think Tower of Babel. There's going to be a lot of
Sure,
like
yeah.
biblical allegories um, throughout the next few chapters, especially. But
Yeah.
yeah. So they try and fight, and they're actually defeated by the Makuta, who at this point had not betrayed Matanui. But this is kind of what got the idea in his head of, could I? Maybe. And before, like, Makuta's like, I'm just gonna kill him. That's my
Yeah.
MO. It's easier to just kill him. Right before that happens, Botar, who's the ugly Order of Matanui member that we were talking about
Truly.
earlier, he has teleportation powers. He pops up. He's like, "Hey, I heard you guys took out the warlords. I'm gonna take him to jail now." And
Yep.
Makuta's like, "Okay, I was gonna kill him, but I guess that works too." Takes him to jail. It's this very well guarded prison called the Pit. Over the course of several thousand years, eventually the Great Cataclysm happens. All of the jail cells get ruptured, and they broke out. But they were mutated by the waters of the pit, and now they're all stuck breathing water. They can't go on dry land. They're basically part fish or crustacean.
They
Yeah,
all have
they're
cool like
all yeah. There's 6 of them. They're all
yeah,
based off of different like deep sea animals. So you have like the squid is the cool one for me,
yeah.
but there's like manta ray, shark, eels. Ethlic was the other cool one. There was a crab one,
There's a crab one, a manta
and
one.
who's the one I'm forgetting?
Oh, there's like a weird shrimp one, prawn esque. I don't know what
There's
Takidox is.
there's Takidox, who's just kind of like an underwater mantis type
Yeah.
deal.
Yeah. Speaking about sets, and we'll get more into sets when the heroes get down
Yeah.
there. But the Baraki sets are very unique now. They've added a lot more of a round shape to their designs.
Mhm.
They're very cool. Like, all of their silhouettes are vastly different from each other, which we don't, to this point,
Yeah,
we hadn't seen much in Bionicle. Like, the
they're also
Paraka was different.
creepy.
Yeah. The Paraka
They're
were
all
different from
creepy.
each other, but they were all like, big teeth, one gun, one blade kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Baraki were like vastly different sizes and shapes. The armor was different. Some of the armor glowed in the dark.
Yeah.
Um, it was just a really cool year for sets.
Yeah. I had a couple. Well, I had one Baraki. I had the crab one, Karapar, I want to
Yep.
Yeah.
say. But then I
Takidax
also
is
had
based off of sea mantis shrimp, also.
Good job.
but yeah, then I also
So
had
you
the
also had
Nocturne, who is
Nocturne
sort of
was a
a
really
side,
cool set.
who has like 4 arms and glows in the dark and was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So just overall, great sets.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll talk more about sets once we get to the others.
Yeah.
Um, all of these guys are sensing that the mask is there. In fact, some of them are sensing it. Some of them are manipulating different things into finding out that the mask is there.
Mhm.
And they decide, okay, we're going to start attacking Marinui, which is this island or this
The village.
island, the village. Um, the Toa and Nika are currently traveling down to Marinui using the cord, and they get most of the way there. Um, but when the Mask of Life is getting threatened, it tries to get guardians for itself. And so one of the
Yeah.
guardians that it creates is this giant eel. It was a normal sized eel. It made it very big, and then that giant eel, uh, in flailing around because he's like, "Whoa, I'm big now. What can I do?" Smashes into the cord, cracks a hole in it, and the Toa are like, "Oh, this is filling with water really fast. What do we do?" So the bright side is, in fact, the very bright side, the Mask of Life is like, "Yeah, this eel thing's not working. Let me try one more thing." And it reaches back to the Toa that saved it just previously and is like, "Hey, I need help. You can't breathe air anymore, so you can only breathe water. So you have to come save me now. Thank you."
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Very,
And
very
so,
manipulative.
yeah, a little
Yeah.
Like
bit.
maybe even
Listen,
like a little passive aggressive.
the Mask of Life is like testing Motoro to see if Motoro can be its specialist boy and put it on. And now it's like, hey, you have to come be my specialist boy. Frankly, Motoro should take a step back and be like, hey, dude, this is a lot. I'm not ready for this level of commitment.
He
But
really needs
instead,
to set some
Motoro's like, I
boundaries.
need to prove myself that I'm a hero. And yeah,
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
does a thing we'll
So
get to.
yeah, they're now mutated, which this is the first time that we've seen in Bionicle where a Toa team has completely new mask powers. In previous mutations, they always have the same mask power or a more enhanced version of that, or a non-mask anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Um, but this is the first year where they have entirely new mask powers, which is great for Holly because now she doesn't have the mask of headaches. She has the mask of being able to do whatever you do, but better a little bit sometimes.
I think Nuparu
Um,
gets a Mask of Stealth.
yeah, he gets stealth. We've got some great masks this year.
Yeah.
Kongu has the mask of summon. Oh yeah, because so Kongu had like the mask of communication, and like just after they mutate, Joller's like, Kongu, talk to it and figure out what the giant eel wants. And Kongu uses his mask, and a bunch of like regular size eels go to start fighting the big eel, and he's like,
Yeah,
I have a new mask.
yeah, yeah. So previously, actually, Kongu got a pretty short end of the stick in his Anika form because he got the mask of uh, telepathy, but he
Oh,
couldn't
that's
turn
what
it
it was. Yeah.
off. So he was always reading everybody's minds all the time. Um, and it was not a fun time for him.
And now he has the
Especially
mask of summoning.
he he tried to read the minds of the Paraka at one point, and it was basically like a flashbang to himself. It was bad. But yeah, they have new masks and they have a new setup. And here's where we'll talk about their sets a little bit more. Their sets look very much like they're all scuba divers. They've got these
Yes.
like cords attached to them. They've got a lot of like breathing apparatuses
Yep.
by the look of it. And they've got masks that have like this shell on the inside for some of them, where it looks like they've got like a whole helmet on.
Mhm.
Lore wise, however, they cannot breathe air. So these are not scuba gear. Uh, those cords that you see, those are actually gills.
Oh.
Listen, they're robots. The robot needs to breathe water.
Yep.
But this causes some nice soap opera drama for them while they're down here because they're like, how do we go home?
Yeah.
Yeah. which is an interesting place to put your heroes in. It reminds me, since this is binging Barbie, I should bring Barbie into it. And Barbie Fairytopia Mermaidia, obviously. Um, Elena, is that her name? Elena, whoever the main character is, decides to sacrifice her wings as a fairy to become a mermaid to save Mermaidia. And then there's a whole question of how will she turn back into a fairy. Of course, in the next scene, she magically turns back into a fairy because it's Barbie.
Sure,
But yeah,
magic.
Yeah. So now they're water breathing. They have all new mask powers. Some of them, actually, most of them are better than what they had previously.
except
Skylar gets
for Motoro, right?
No,
Or are you?
Matoro.
Motoro now has the mask of reanimation instead of the mask of astral projecting.
Yeah. So his mask, it's arguable because his is the only mask that is actually shunned by Matoran. They're like,
Yeah,
this is
Right.
actually an evil mask. Don't wear it, which makes sense. If you're essentially a necromancer, it doesn't give
Yeah.
off the best vibes. Um, and Motoro's like, why this mask? The mask of life was like, you needed a new little test.
Cheeky finger in the
and he's
oh
like, okay, fine, but it does end up being a great mask. At one point, he raises like an army of zombie sharks.
oh,
Super
to do
cool.
to do to do.
Yeah, and they're great. It's an awesome use of it. He also resurrects a Toa at one point, and there's a whole side plot about it. We'll get to that. Anyways,
Yeah.
they're now Toa. They're underwater. They're fighting off a giant eel. And they get to the city, and the Matoran are like, "Who are you guys?" And the Toa are like, "We're Toa," and they're like, "Okay, we don't trust you." And they're like, "Okay, well, we've been through this before. What can we? How can we get you to trust us?" And they're like,
Yeah.
"Well, because of all these eel attacks, we're actually running low on air, and our Hydruka aren't going to go out anymore because of all the eel attacks. Could you go with them and harvest some air for us? And then if you do that, we'll trust you." And they're like, "Sure, but we'll leave one of us behind as like collateral, essentially."
Yeah.
Toro's like, "I am good collateral." So
My God, you need to stop sacrificing yourself so much.
oh, it's my entire personality. Don't understand. Um, but so he actually tries to go into the city, but because it's surrounded by a bubble, he realizes he can't breathe, and so he steps out and he's like, after a few hours, they still haven't returned, and some of the Matorans say, "Hey, we saw some of your allies leaving with the Baraki that have been trying to like kill us for a long time. We don't trust you anymore." And so they actually start attacking Matoro, and he's like, "Oh, bye, I'll peace out," and he leaves. Turns out all of his allies have essentially been kidnapped by the Baraki, and they use their fancy new mask powers of stealth and copying other abilities and
Sonar.
sonar and gravity and summoning to escape. Meanwhile, Motoro has actually been captured by someone else, someone who has been kind of the jailer of the pit. Uh, his name is Hydraxon, not related to Axon. They just really liked that part of the name. They wanted
it's
to keep
very,
that
very
going.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Listen, if I have to praise these group of Toa for anything, it's that none of their names sound similar, and that's better, actually. The
Yeah.
only one that's like kind of the same is like Holly sounds the same as Golly, but like other than that, none of
Also,
these.
Motoro and Matoran.
That's true, but like it's a little different. It's not like you have
Yeah, yeah.
Oniwa, Onua, and Huenua, who
Yeah.
are all their names sound the same.
Comma and no comma, who are on the same team.
Yeah, Vakama and no comma. I'm like,
Uh,
why? But yeah,
so Motoro has actually been thrown in jail, and Hydroxon leaves, but he leaves with a robotic bodyguard behind. And to
yeah,
clarify something, they're all the characters are kind of robots, but I guess they're more like cyborgs in the sense that they have biological components and mechanical components.
They're reverse
Um,
cyborgs. They're more
yeah,
robots.
essentially. Yeah. But this is an entirely mechanical being. We've
Mhm.
seen a few of these. All the Vaki are entirely mechanical. The Toa
Yep.
exosuits from 2001 are entirely mechanical. Things like
The
that.
Toa. Ugh.
Um, and then also, uh, the robot has a dog too.
Yeah.
We just love him. We gotta mention
Yeah,
him.
yeah.
He's the goodest of boys.
Also,
Um,
Hydraxon. Hey, remember when we talked about Dekar and how
yeah,
the Mask of Life was making guardians for itself? So it turned Dekar, the cute little cool Matoran, into Hydraxon, who used to be the jailer of the pit. Um,
yeah,
and that Matoran's fully just like gone now.
yeah. Also, that former jailer was straight up killed by one of the Baraki, so that Baraki
Yeah,
is freaking out. He's like, "I have killed you once before. How are you walking again?" Or I guess swimming
Matoro did
a
it.
little bit. Yeah,
He's got his mask of reanimation.
yeah. So, this giant robot, his name is Maxilos, uh, kind of walks up to Matoro, and Matoro's like, "Why are you staring at me?" And then he shoots him in the face. Matoro's like, "Okay, that was not appropriate." And then a voice comes out of Maxilos, and he realizes, "Oh, that is Makuta in Maxilos's body." And this is the first time we've seen Makuta in a little while, except for we did find out
He was
through
in that green liquid, yeah.
he was that green liquid. Um, but at the end of it, Brutaka and Axon like they smash it, and so he had to go find another vessel, and he
Listen,
found this
somehow
little
Makuta returned. It's fine.
somehow Makuta returned, and he found this like this red robot at the bottom of the ocean. He's like, yeah, he looked cool, really cool set,
Really
lots of
cool
cool
set.
pieces.
He had like a
So
double bladed axe and a shoulder mounted blaster and a fun dog.
custom mask too that's not used
Yep.
anywhere else, but looks
Yeah.
really good.
It's a really cool mask.
Yeah. So Makuta's like, yeah, I'm posing as this guard, but now that you have the mask of reanimation, why don't you and I go on a little bit of a field trip? Um, and so Makuta explains as things are going on a few different very important things. First, he explains, "Oh, yeah, my whole plan is I want you to bring back this dead Toa that had this really powerful object that made Toa super super strong. That's my plan. And then I'm going to take that that object and give it to a Toa that betrays the rest of the Toa. And then I'll have a super strong dude on my team." And Matoro's like, "No." Makuta's like, "If you don't do this, I'll kill you and all your friends." And he's like, "Okay.
And Matoro's like, that's cool. You can kill. Oh, wait.
Yeah, you can kill. Wow, sorry, wait. Not my
My
friends.
friends? Never mind. Sorry.
They're off the table. So he goes on this little mission. The rest of the Toa Mari are kind of doing their own things. Like they're kind of teaming up, but they're also kind of not. Eventually, they do earn the trust of the villagers, and Matoro breaks free from Makuta, and after like Makuta, Karzani, remember him? He follows them down and is like, I'm gonna kill that little white Matoran dude that I let free." And then he runs into Makuta and he's like, "Oh wait, you're like the big bad guy that dude had like nightmares about? I bet you I could take you." He cannot take him. Makuta uses his psychological powers to rip his brain in half,
Oh.
and now he's more crazy. Which
You
he was
know,
already crazy. We don't know what the scale looks like of crazy.
he's just
Anyways,
more now.
he's just more. He's also been mutated by the waters. It's not that important, but he does
Listen.
get an official set release now.
Oh.
Um,
Oh, yeah, he does.
yeah,
With two Matoran.
to Matoran, and then there's also a little side quest about this old Toa
Yeah.
named Lezovic who had his entire team
Which,
die, and it
which
was sad.
Lesovic has such a, he's maybe the coolest of like the Toa Mari sets, I will say.
Yeah.
He's just
Oh
got
yeah,
a real cool design.
he's got a cool design. He's got like a little underwater surfboard thing.
Yeah.
Great. very fun. Not very relevant to the plot though, so
No,
unfortunately we
and
will
we've
skip on
already
for
been talking for an hour and a half. So
now.
I think
I wouldn't know. The
longer.
number keeps resetting.
yeah, that's fair.
Okay, so they go on a side quest. They finally all meet up after Makuta has told Motoro, hey, yeah, if you did want to like revive Matanui, like don't do it. But like if you did, you'd have to break the big island that's up there, make it drop, destroy this island, and then fill that hole over
Yeah,
there.
because there's a hole in the ocean where
There's
Voyanui
a
used to be.
yeah, there's a big hole in the ocean.
Water's flowing down there. It won't be relevant.
No, surely not.
No. Shh.
And so Motoro's like, okay, good to know. And then freezes Makuta in a block of ice and then swims away. The block of ice, by the way, canonically does not float upwards. It's a weird detail that I don't think the comic writers thought about.
Don't
It's
worry
like
about
GI
it.
Joe.
Yeah,
Whatever the GI Joe
exactly.
movie is, where they blow up the ice and it sinks on top of the
Uh-huh.
bad guys.
It's that really heavy ice.
It's protodermis
Yeah,
ice.
protodermis. That's what it
Yeah.
is.
Magic plot
Sure.
juice.
Yeah.
Yeah. But so they all regroup. He's kind of telling them, hey, this is kind of what's going on. We need to destroy that. They're like, how do you know? And he's like, trust
A
me.
wizard told me.
Yeah. At this point, by the way, through this story in the last year, Jowler has gone from being like, yeah, I'm the leader because I'm the red guy, to being kind of like, okay, different people will lead at different times. And my job is to like
Finally.
help figure out who. Like he's more of a delegator of like, okay, you're leader now. Tell us what you need us to do.
Yeah.
He's great. Jowler actually learns from his mistakes very quickly. And so in the previous year, Motoro actually led certain parts of it. This year, Motoro leads a little bit, but Holly does a lot of the leading. Holly this year is awesome. She is ready to kill anyone as long as she can bring back Matanui. She'll do it. She will not hesitate. But so because of all of this, they're like, okay, we need to get all of the Marinui Matoran up to Voyanui. We need to get all the Voyanui Matoran down into bunkers in underneath Marinui, and then we need to break the cord and drop the island into the hole. And so they work on doing that. They get everything prepared. They're like, oh yeah, we also do need to get the Mask of Life. And Axon's like, hey, don't worry. We got a budget for one more set release. So here's a little cool rocky that you get to climb into and
the
swim
minifig
around
set
in.
release.
Really cool set. It is
and it's the Mari movie.
Yeah, it's the Mari movie, which by the way, the book, if you read the novelization of it, is literally just an expanded version of the Mari movie. Like that full sequence is entirely canonical, aside from the point where they all have British male voices. I'm assuming Holly doesn't, but Mask of Life works in mysterious ways. So while all this is happening, big things happening.
Yeah. So, hey, remember when the Toa Nuva were like, hey, we have some side quests we got to go do? So they were given like a laundry list by the Order of Matanui to be like, hey, before Matanui wakes up, you got to go do this stuff. So the first thing they have to go do is actually wake up the Borog, because it was bad when the Borog were destroying everything on the island of Matanui when there were like Matoran living there. But now that there's no Matoran living there, it's chill and will in fact be important. So they go and they wake up the Balrog, who are the Borog queens, and they're like, hey, you have free reign of the place. Please feel free to destroy everything as you are supposed to. And the Balrog are a little bit like, wait, why though? And Gali is basically like, it was not the time yet, and now it's a good time for this. Yes, it's been less than a year. Don't worry about it.
Just had to reschedule. Sorry.
We just had to reschedule. Sorry, you woke up a little 6 months too early. So you just forgot to hit the snooze button on your alarm.
Yeah.
Also, they go and they free the Matoran of Karzani and then destroy it. I don't know much about this one, so Toe, if you want to.
Yeah, it's a weird plot point. They go so the whole plot point about like Makuta is trying to get this magic rock that makes the Toa stronger, but he actually needs a spear of fusion. Remember the thing that we
Yeah,
used backwards
the spear
earlier?
of
Yeah.
fusion. Yeah.
We need that to make the rock good. It's also I think called the spear of Artaka.
Oh, okay.
And so a lot of the Makuta are trying to go and find it. Turns out it's on Karzani. The Toa are like, okay, we got to go get it. They get to Karzani. They evacuate the Matoran. Karzani's not there anymore. But
Mhm.
um, other people are trying. Other people that work for the Makuta are trying to get this spear. Um, and they fight, and Golly's like, "Don't worry, I got this," and then uses a Nova Blast and destroys the entire island. Like it's rough. The only thing that survives is Jowler's mask that like was stolen from him. That was Lacan's mask. Does wash up, and they're
Oh,
like, "Oh, that's nice. We'll take this
yeah.
souvenir." Uh, so all the Karzani Matoran are safe. They're back at Metro Nui now.
Yeah. Metro Nui is kind of like the base that everyone keeps going back to.
Yeah.
And then after this, all the Toa Nuva, they go and they find Artaka, and they chat with Artaka a little bit. Artaka, the creator, and he has made some adaptive armor for them that will sort of adapt to whatever their environment is. And he gives it to them, and then they teleport away somewhere.
Yeah.
And we'll find out what happens with that later.
To be continued. Back in
To be
Mari
continued.
Nui, we have the Mari movie going on right now.
Yeah.
And they end up
Which is
with the mask.
Also,
go ahead.
pause. This could be a good time to talk about these sets if we want to talk about the Toa Mari sets.
Yeah, we can talk about them more.
I don't know.
Right.
They all. Oh, we did talk about them. I'm sorry. We didn't talk about the Kordak blasters or the squid launchers though, which
That
were
is
like
true.
the guns that everyone
Guns.
has. So I just wanted to make sure we talk about those. The Baraki, they had like squid launchers, which were kind of like you'd put a rubber band on it and then it would shoot, but not super far. They weren't great.
The
No.
squid things were cool. They're like little.
They were cool. The squid things were cool. They did not shoot
rubbery,
far.
Gummy.
They
No.
they didn't shoot far, and they broke a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did sell replacement packs, so you could buy more individual squids. But I think after people broke theirs, they were like, I don't know if I want to buy more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, in some unreleased prototypes, they had some really good squid launchers that worked really, really well, but they worked too well to the point
They
where
were
some
like,
of the playtesters were
children.
getting like bruises from them.
Oh,
Yeah.
like
So they're
kids.
like, scale it back.
Yeah. It's like even though we put it in the directions not to, kids will shoot their siblings with this.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they scaled it back. It's not quite as good, but it ties into like it's interesting that the underwater creatures shoot squids at their enemies. Kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then the Toa all have what are called Kordak blasters. They're basically like little revolvers that are air powered and have a spring, so it like shoots one bullet at a time. They're fine. They're not my favorite gun that they gave to a generation of Bionicles. Not my least favorite. It's like perfectly serviceable. The little bullets got lost everywhere.
They were visually like if you wanted like a giant machine gun looking thing, it looked great.
Visually the coolest, probably.
Yeah. The firing ability on them, you had to like pump it at just the right like speed just to get the bullets to fly out. If you did it underwater, it actually worked very well. Which is how I found out how to fire it to begin with. Is I put it underwater to see if maybe it only fired underwater, and it fired really well. And then I was able to finally get the timing right.
That's cool.
So that was a fun little like Easter egg. I don't know if that was what they were planning for, but it was cool. In general, probably don't put your Bionicles underwater much, but like,
I mean, they're plastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As long as
they're
they dry out
enough
well.
that like the water can leak out pretty well, I would say.
Yeah.
Kongu has two guns, and I just remember there's a bit in the books where he grabs two guns, and everyone's like, "Why do you have two guns when you could have like a gun and a tool?" And he's like, "I've got two hands."
Yeah. It's so good. their sets too also have really good silhouettes where they made some
Yes.
characters extra wide. They made like Holly look very like
Holly
slender
has
and cool
wings.
with wings.
Jollar
Uh,
has a little crab. I always wanted the Jollar set, and I never got it. And I'm sad.
yeah, the little crab was really cute.
Toro
Lore
has like a
wise,
shoe for its chest, right?
Who does?
which one?
Matoro?
Sorry,
Oh yeah.
Matoro.
Matoro?
He does. Well, because he has a hunchback.
Okay.
Oh okay.
Bionicle likes to have hunchback characters, and Matoro just ended up being the one for this one.
That's fine.
Um, but yeah,
Nuparu's got a cool shield.
hmm
That was the other
yeah,
one that
all of
was
them
really cool
like
to me.
they've got very unique weapons and armor. They gave Kongu
Yeah.
2 guns, which was the first time we had seen that. Um, we uh, Huki again is popping off as a set because he's got
Yeah.
like chains too.
Yeah.
Just a really cool set release. Um, this is also the last year that they use the mold that they do for the legs and arm pieces,
Oh yeah.
which is a little bit stronger, held up a little bit better, except for the lime ones, which rest in
Yeah.
peace, the lime joints, which always broke.
If you had
But
Holly. Rip.
yeah, but overall, great set design, great characters. The masks all looked really cool because
Mhm.
it was a nice blend of like scuba diving, but mixed in with like that Toa esque look. Um, just overall, I think this is my favorite set release of any of them.
Yeah.
Is the Toa Mari, and the Baraki are good too, but especially the Mari. Just a solid year. But yeah, and then there are a few other sets that released this year. Of course, we have Hydraxon, we have Maxilos, and Spinax.
Yep. We
We
have
have the
Karzani and Lisovic.
mhm, we have Nocturne and Gadunka, which is a
Oh yes.
small creature that was expanded into a giant
Yep.
creature. And the Toa Terrain Crawler, which is what they are like using as their submarine in
Yes.
the Mari movie. Which, yeah, all really good sets. Like they popped off with their sets this year.
Yeah.
Maxilos was my first like Titan set that I had ever gotten, and I built it, and I was like, that was like the best building experience I've ever had. And since then, I keep reading online where people are like, yeah, I just got Maxilos this year, and it's become my favorite building set. I'm like,
It's well, and it's just like it stands well. It's a really cool silhouette. Like,
mhm,
yeah, he's got the dog. People aren't
he's
gonna
got the
dislike
dog.
the set where he's got a dog.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. So popping back into the story, we're at a race against time now because the they need to get the Mask of Time. They need to drop the island, and they need to hopefully not die to the Baraki in the process.
you did say
Which
Mask of Time.
did I say? Mask of Time?
Yeah,
Mask of Life.
that was
Mask
in
of
a
Time
different
is
ocean.
yeah, yeah,
Okay, I'm pretty sure I've said Mask of Light a few times. And it's like,
yeah.
oh my
It's
goodness.
not helpful when the two legendary masks that we've seen are Mask of Life and Mask of Light.
Yeah.
That was confusing as a child. But yes, the Mask of Life, bottom of the ocean. Somebody, I think Nocturne at this point has it, or Dekar, who's now Hydraxon, has it and is trying to destroy it. Which that
Yes.
just, as the Mask of Life, that's got to be like a really sucky moment where I'm like, yeah, I made this new Guardian for myself. I'm super excited. Oh, it's trying to kill me. Great.
Also, if it is destroyed, it does destroy the concept of life in the Matoran universe because it's one of those masks.
Yeah, it is a legendary mask. So very important for it to continue existing. Hydraxon is not known for his brains,
No.
but that's okay. So there's this whole fight over it. Motaro ends up with it. Um, but as he does, and as the Toa Mari are breaking the cord, the light in the Mask of Life dims, um, and it's the Mask of Life turns to a silvery color. Um, And at that point, Motoro's like, "Oh shoot, are we cooked? Is that it?" And then the other Toa are like, "Yeah, maybe we are." And he's like, "Let me try one more thing. You know, you never
Hey,
know.
it's the thing he's been wanting to do this whole time. Maybe it will work. Maybe it will
Maybe it'll work."
happen.
So he's like, "Okay, I'm just gonna book it." He swims as fast as he possibly can while this giant island is falling to the bottom of the ocean. He's like, "I'm gonna beat it there. I'm gonna go underneath it. I'm gonna land where it needs me to do, where it needs me to land, and maybe there'll be something that I can do to. I don't know what I'm supposed to do with this mask, but I'll figure it out." So he takes off. In the meantime, Jolly's like, "Okay, you got this. We're gonna fight the Baraki." And Jolly trying to steal Motoro's shtick is like, "This is not going well. What if I sacrifice myself, but also everyone else?"
What if I boil the ocean alive?
Yeah. He's like, "I'm gonna release a Nova Blast," and everyone's like, "Bro, you're a toe of fire underwater. This is the only time you're using your power, and you're using it to kill us." It's like, "Don't worry, trust me. Let me cook." Literally.
He's literally trying to cook them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like,
Boiled
I
So-
don't want any seafood pasta.
Unfortunately, they don't eat, so it doesn't matter.
That's true. They don't.
They absorb through hands.
Such a concept.
So Motoro's swimming really fast. He gets under the island, and he's in this like free fall essentially at this point.
Yeah.
And
He's falling in a cavern. We'll come back to this.
Yeah. But he's hearing some voices that are like, "Put on the mask. Do it. You won't." Like, I bet. And he puts on the mask. Meanwhile, the Toa that are currently there, they're fighting. Jolly's like, "I'm gonna release the Nova Blast," and they're like, "Okay, maybe that might be an okay idea." He's like, "I'm gonna do it," and then immediately, boom, they're not there anymore. They're not at the bottom of the ocean. They're actually back in Metro Nui. Jolly's like, "Oh, is this
I
heaven?
won't destroy the city.
Yeah, maybe I'll not go boom." And they're like, "Thank you for that. We appreciate it." He's like, "What happened?" And Turaga Vakama shows up and he's like, "You're not gonna like my answer, but I just saw a vision." So we cut back. Motoro's putting this mask of life on. He's hearing voices from the mask of life. It's like, "Hey, I chose you, and you're pretty cool." Fun fact though, you putting me on is not such a great thing for you.
Nope.
But I can save the life of Matanui. And Motoro's like, "All right, how?" And the mask is like, you're gonna have to sacrifice yourself." And Motoro said, "Bet."
Finally.
Finally.
Ugh.
But yeah, so he puts on the mask and he's filled with all this energy as his entire body is also converted into energy. And for the first time in his life, he's like, everything just fits and makes sense. And he sees all of like the entire universe all at once and sees all the power at his disposal. And he's like, "Okay, well, if you're going to use my entire energy, I'm going to use some of yours to get my friends to safety."
Yeah.
And so he teleports them back into Metro Nui and gives them the ability to breathe air and water, makes them amphibious. So Galley's mask power sucks even worse now.
Power creep.
Yeah. And then in his final moments, Toa Motoro felt no fear.
Oh.
Is the line that is said. And he kind of disappears as the mask continues to drop down this seemingly never-ending waterfall. Somewhere else, the lifeless body of Maxilos floats, no longer inhabited by the Makuta. Is he dead?
The Makuta. There's only one.
By the Makuta, yeah. Is he dead? Or has he found another body to possess? Did Karzani kill him? Did Hydraxon kill him?
His
Hard
dog.
to say.
He wasn't good to his dog, and his dog was like, "Hey."
Oh,
All right, so that
So,
wraps up 2007.
well, we need to unpack a bit of this. So this
Yeah,
is,
no,
I
for sure.
think, this is the reason that I wish they would make film adaptations of these.
Oh yeah,
Like this moment here where you have the island crashing down and Jaller is gonna boil everyone alive and Matoro puts on the mask and you have that like moment of
oh yeah.
silence.
It's
Like that's
certainly the
just,
most
yeah.
cinematic. Like, yeah,
Th-
this is
this
this
is
is a good. Yeah,
yeah. These
I,
2 years
yeah.
also break from the Bionicle mold in a lot of ways. Of previous years, the whole story has been like a scavenger hunt. You're looking for masks. You're
right.
looking for other masks. You're looking for the Nuva stones. You're looking for the Makoki stones. You're looking for the Great Discs. You're looking for, I guess, the Matoran 2005. I don't know. This year, they're
Yeah,
like, you got one thing to find, and it's the most important thing in the universe. So there's not a
yeah.
lot of sidetrack to it,
Yeah.
and so it's kind of just plot all the way down, which is really
hmm
good. Um, they're
Also, there's
focusing,
fewer characters. Like, the Toa
yeah,
Nuva are around, the Matoran Resistance is around, the Baraki are around, but like generally, I think my critique with the Bionicle story is that there's too many dang characters, and we'll get into this too in the 2008 stuff. But like, it's because every set is a character and has to be in the story, and I'm just like, hey, if we look at this from a storytelling perspective, you got too many cooks and too many characters,
yep,
and if you just like combine a few, you'll be have a better story.
yeah. And this is
I
this
also
is a critique of like previous years, but also it worked well for them in that previous years prior to 2006, basically all of the enemies are just hordes of enemies. So we've
right,
got the Vizirac spiders, we've got the Vaki, we've got all of them aside from like the Rakshi who
the
are
Rakshi aren't,
individuals.
but the Borak are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like hordes of characters, which is awesome from like two perspectives of like the storytelling perspective. I don't have to memorize any of the Vizirac names. I don't
Right.
care to. They all sound the same. They all look the same. They got different colors. That's all I need to know. But from the other side, obviously, as a child, I'm gonna want to buy the hero sets more.
Right.
But it is kind of cool if I get a hero set and then it has to fight 15 of the villains.
Yes.
That's pretty cool. Like you get to fight the army. So I think from that marketing standpoint, really smart. The Paraka are all characters, but they're all pretty similar. The
Yeah.
Baraki, kind of similar vibes.
The Baraki are
Um,
kind of the same as the Paraka also. They're just sort of like they all want the mask because they all want to breathe air again. They all are setting their armies of different animals against each other.
yeah,
Yeah.
they're all kooky characters that really want power, but don't trust and are not good at teamwork.
Yeah.
So very similar vibes. We do get like some standout characters. The Paraka Zaktan is a green guy, and in the lore, he was split up into like thousands of bugs. He's just a man made of bugs now, which is kind of
Oh.
cool. Um, Vizon, of course, kind of ends up being like
Yep.
the Deadpool of the universe. And then for the Baraki, I would say Takadox ends up being like the Loki or the Joker of the
Yeah.
universe in later iterations.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, interestingly, Karapar after this whole story is probably used a little bit more than Takadox, but he's just kind of killed at one point. He's on a mission, and that mission does not go very well because he attacks the wrong dude, and
Oh.
he's just unceremoniously killed. And honestly, I'm okay with that. I was not
Yeah.
attached to Karapar.
Yeah.
I think that's okay.
Jay, do you have any thoughts on 2007?
Yeah, I mean, this is for me, even though I didn't own a lot of the sets compared to the next wave, but for me, just in terms of like this is the stuff I remember from when I was more into Bionicle. This storytelling stuff, everything with Motoro just kind of stuck in my
Mhm.
brain a lot more. And I wonder if this is kind of the peak of Bionicle, because
Yeah.
even the next section, which we're going to talk about, just gets very, to me, as someone who is kind of outside of this, who isn't experiencing the story organically, but is kind of watching lore videos and reading. I
Mhm.
read some of the comics, reread some of the comics to catch up.
Yeah.
Reading a lot of wiki summaries,
Yeah.
but yeah, the next stuff is just so bogged down in trying to get every character who has been named in the previous
Yeah.
years into this, and so it's kind of like, to me, this is just, lore is fun. I like lore, but at a certain point, I'm like, I want a little bit more. I want some storytelling, some emotion, some characters.
Yeah.
So this for me is like the peak of that for Bionicle. And yeah, following this, it's like, yeah, I'm not nearly as invested in the story part. And then when they do the soft reboot, it's like,
Mhm.
I do kind of wonder if this is sort of the thing that not doomed Bionicle, but like, oh yeah, this is, they reached a good point and then
This is the
haven't really been
climax.
able.
Yeah,
Yeah,
certainly. Everything else happens because of what happens here.
yeah.
Yeah.
I also want to say this is like the year that has like the best Flash games other than the Matanui Island game, I want to say.
Yeah.
Like the Toa Mari games, so each Toa had their own game, and then there was a combined game that was like the hardest level from each of the Toa games, so you could like practice like Hyuki's game and then do the combined one. And if you beat all 6 of their individual games, you did get a little cutscene where Motoro put on the Mask of Life like
Mhm.
before that part of the story had been released,
Mhm.
which is pretty cool.
Yeah. It was like, this was peak, like Bionicle.com was like
Yes.
booming right now.
This is like when I got into Bionicle, and it wasn't really like I didn't really understand what was going on until the beginning of 2008, which is why I'm going to like take this next bit mainly. But there was a video that was on the Lego website that recapped all of the story to this point and then was like,
Mhm.
and here's where we're going next. And like that's really what, like that 11-minute video is why Bionicle was like my first obsession as a child.
Yeah. Well, and so for me, 2007 was a big turning point for me as just like being an individual and not being like an echo chamber of thoughts as a child.
Mm-hmm.
Because growing up, I was like, I like the green ones because I like green. Green was my favorite.
You
And then
know,
we got
that's
to 2006.
reasonable.
Yeah, we got to 2006, and Kongu was the green guy, and I was like, he's got a weird face, but he's still green, so I'll go with him. He's fine. He's got a crossbow. Can't go wrong with that. And then the year after, he had guns, and I was like, I don't care for the guns. I want the melee weapons. I want the cool swords. I want to make my own stuff.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I don't have a favorite this year. Not of the good guys. The green one of the bad guys was still my favorite, to clarify. But
He
of
was
the good
cool. He
guys,
was the eel one.
yeah, of the good guys, I was like, I don't know which one's my favorite. And then I watched the Mari movie, and I was like, I really like that that white Toa's mask. The silver mask looks really cool. And in the Mari movie, he stands out as this guy that like he fights Gadunka alone. He shows up at the end and gets the mask. I'm like,
Mhm.
that guy's super cool. I'm really excited. And that's when I was like starting to pick up on there's more story to the Bionicle universe than just like the movies, because I'd seen some of the movies at this point.
Yeah.
And I was like, but these character names are the same as the last year, but they look completely different. So I need to read up on that. And so I did. And I read through the comics for the Anika series, and then I read through the comics for the Mari series. And at the very end, like at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm reading through this as Motoro. The Toe of Ice is
Mhm.
my favorite
He's my favorite. And
now.
then
And then he dies. And I literally read it on like, it was a 3 p.m. on like a Saturday
Yeah.
afternoon, and I'm just like in tears, and I'm like, uh. And so from that point
Yeah.
forward, I was like, okay, do I like the element of air, or do I just like they're green? And I thought about it more, and I'm like, I think I legitimately like ice more. And so like I switched my entire like favorites to the ice ones for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
Which I remember you liking the ice ones and you really liking Matoro. Like
Yeah.
that's part of why this stuff sticks in my head is I'm like, oh yeah, this is the stuff that Toa likes from this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
think
and
you
that
were the one who like shared the story with me because I was just there for the sets, and then you were like at school telling me all of the
Yeah.
yeah,
background
it's
and
cuz
stuff.
okay, well when the Mari stuff came out, that was when most of our friends were still collecting sets but were kind of phasing out of it.
Yeah,
And so like nobody knew the lore and I was like
Oh.
I started getting into the lore and I was like, this is super cool. And I was talking to you and other friends about it. And that's when I feel like I really got into it a lot more, was because
Yeah.
I was like, there's something deeper to this and it's really cool.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah.
All right. So when Matoro was falling into a cavern, he was actually falling into Cardanui, which is our location for the 2008 story. Um, and we're going to rewind a little bit to before that happens for a bit. So, hey, there's one Makuta, right?
Yeah,
Wrong.
yeah, well
Um,
established.
actually, actually, Makuta is a species. The Makuta who's been Makuta this whole time is actually named Pterodax. And
Terry.
Terry
We love
Dax.
Terry.
Yep. Terry Dax, my drag name.
Welcome to the
Uh,
stage, Miss Terry Dax.
that's actually very good. I should
Write that down.
TM.
Write that down.
But so the role of the Makuta was essentially to like kind of be the first Toa to like guard Matanui. And each Makuta had like their different region that they were responsible for. Pterodax was responsible for Metro Nui, which is why he's like the important one. Is I mean that's the reasoning. I mean he's also the important one because he's been here the whole time. But as it turns out, Makuta is actually a different species, and the Brotherhood of Makuta is a new faction who's been around. Um, Pterodax has had leadership of the Brotherhood for a while, and Makuta are different physiologically from other beings in this universe, in that they are made out of antidermis and can just sort of possess any body that nobody's already in. Did I get that right?
Yeah, it's kind of unclear in certain ways. It kind of goes back to like the fully mechanical beings
Mm-hmm.
can be possessed by anyone that
Right.
is a Makuta or even Matoro with his spirit form could possess.
Mm-hmm.
But as if there's a like quote unquote spirit already in there, if there's already a sentience, they can't.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just kind of
Great.
how it works.
Makes sense. So there Pterodax sent a whole bunch of Makuta to Cardanui while all of this was going on, for reasons. Um, don't worry about it. But so there are 6 Makuta currently in Cardanui. There are 3 living in the sky. They're all sort of like looking like bats. Well, there's actually 4 living in the sky. Sorry, I forgot about Mutron. Um,
True.
and then there's 3 in the swamp, and we'll get to the ones in the swamp later. But so the ones in the sky are, they have these little shadow leech creatures. And Cardanui is inhabited by Avmatoran, who are Matoran aligned with the element of light. Takua used to be an Avmatoran before he became Takanuva. And these little shadow leeches, the Makuta use them to eat the light out of these Matoran and turn them evil, basically.
Yeah. Fun
It's sad.
times.
Yeah. But when Matoro is falling into the cavern and turning into energy, he is creating some brilliant light. And this actually blinds the Makuta that are living in the skies.
Who are very like
So the
bat
leader,
like in design.
yeah, they're all super bat-like. They're all looking creepy and really cool.
Yeah.
And so Tanma, who is the leader of these Matoran currently, because the actual leader got turned into a bad one, is like, this is like a rallying point. He's like, they're blind, we can go get them. and they go and they try to like make a stand against the Makuta, and the Makuta cornered them and are about to turn these folks into Shadow Matoran, and then the Toa Nuva get teleported in here, and the Toa Nuva fight the Makuta, and Tanma accidentally connects with Liwa because the cool thing about these sets is that the little guys can go on the big guys, and this is how uh, the Makuta actually like see using their Shadow Matoran riders type thing. And I loved it. And this was like when I got in to Bionicle. Because also like I had a thing for like corruption as a kid. I still love a corruption arc, but like
Yeah.
when the good guy can become a bad guy, oh
Yeah. Stakes are a little bit higher because like dying's bad, but
yeah.
being forced to be one of the enemies now, that's doubly
Yeah.
as bad.
Mm-hmm. The drama.
Yeah.
Also while they're here, the Toa Nuva begin to like remember being here before, but it was different.
Yeah.
And so they split up, and so Lua, Kopaka, and Pohatu decide to stay in the skies and help out these Matoran, and Tahu, Gali, and Onua go down to the swamp to look for the Mask of Light. And so we get the spring or the like winter release wave of sets, which is the Fantoka, which is a Matoran word meaning spirits of the air, which are the 3 sky Toa and then the 3 sky Makuta. And we have the Mystica, which is the sort of like summer release, which is the 3 Toa that go down to the swamp, and 3 sort of buggy Makuta.
Yeah.
Which I think is the first time Bionicle did waves that were like combined good guys and bad guys.
Yeah, the set releases for this year were really fascinating because rather than doing a full set of villains, a full set of heroes, they split it half and half.
Yeah.
And also this is the first time we're seeing evil Matoran, which
Right.
works well with the split at the start of the year. In general, I think as a marketing idea makes a lot more sense because now you have good guys and bad guys. You can already start play fighting with them.
Right.
The downside was if your favorite one was the green one and you were at the side of the year where the only green one is the villain, you're kind of like, well,
yeah,
what do I do now?
mm-hmm. So then as they're like fighting these Makuta, stuff happens. They start finding what are called keystones. They're essentially like stone tablets, and each of them has like a piece of instructions on how to awaken Mata Nui. So down in the swamp, Tahu and Gali and Onua are looking for the Mask of Light. Nope, sorry, the Mask of Life.
One of those.
They also each get ambushed by a Makuta. And these are more buggy Makuta. All of the guys down in the swamp have like the air shooter launchers. And the Toa in the skies have sort of spring-loaded ball launchers, which are different from the Xammer spheres, but like it's the same sort of ball, just colored silver instead of a color. And it's like a spring thing. And this is the one that explicitly said, don't shoot your siblings with it in the instructions that I remember. And I was like, bet.
These were, to be fair, these were powerful. They could hold the same amount as a Xamor sphere launcher.
Yeah.
But they couldn't fall out depending on which way you turned them, which made them great. And they shot far.
Yeah, especially when you had it loaded with all 4 because it was a spring.
Mm-hmm.
So like the first one that shot went super far, and then as you continued to shoot them, they went less far.
Yeah.
And then the Makuta and the Fantoka all had these like little rib cages that had glowing spheres in them that were filled with the shadow leeches.
Those were so cool.
They were pretty cool.
It worked really well too, because like, so this is the flying year. We just had the underwater year.
Yes.
This is the flying year.
They can all fly now.
They can all fly now. Rest in peace, Liwa and Nuparu. Your masks useless. But it from like a set perspective, the Makuta the Fantoka Makuta, um, having not like guns, but more like bombs, made it really
Yeah.
cool to play into that flying factor. Um, they made a specific torso for them so that
Hmm.
you could release the bomb while you were flying, which was just a really well done mechanic.
Yeah.
Um, and I think in general, the Makuta this year had some really cool weapons because they didn't have to rely on I'll have this like side weapon, but mostly a gun. They were mostly melee, which I
Hmm.
think made the Makuta of that release really strong, like
Yeah.
just visually. And then the Fantoka Toa of this year were, um, I think, received not quite as well, mostly because they relied with both sets of Toa this year. They relied on gray a lot, which I
They
think a lot of
did.
people
Yeah.
were a little bit bummed by. Um, some people will also complain that Kopaka's scope is on the wrong side now from what it used to be, which I think is
Yeah.
a fair
Fair.
complaint, but it's not the story writer's fault. They just were like, we need to bring them back, and these are the sets we're going with. So
But also it
this
has
is
the
them now.
lightsaber blade in it. Like, so the little like laser scope that you could put in
Yeah,
Kopaka's mask, it was the same Lego piece as a lightsaber blade from the Lego Star Wars. So I had fun switching out the colors
that was
because
pretty good.
that was pretty cool.
We
Um,
got a lot of new
okay.
pieces this year too. Um,
Mhm.
the
The Matoran bodies that are used here continue to be used through the end of Bionicle.
Yeah, and even are big inspirations for when Hero Factory starts.
Oh yeah.
Um, so they really simplified and streamlined a lot of, especially the Matoran design for this year. And then the Toa designs were mostly silver and armor. And although there were some significant complaints about them being a little bit too simple as far
Hmm.
as color scheme goes, they were really good if you just wanted to make another set that had silver involved. Um,
Yeah.
so we got some pretty good pieces out of this year, that's for sure.
Pohachu does get the short end of the stick though because his hands are both propellers that he needs to fly.
Right.
Which is just rough because also propellers are not a great way to stay in the air.
But the set was cool.
The set was cool, however, I'm just
Yeah.
thinking about it. I was like, I was thinking about it today, and I was like, he probably was like lurching through the air everywhere else, while Kupaka and Liwa were just sort of like flying streamlined.
Yeah. The other thing that we haven't mentioned, the Toe of Stone has changed color twice now.
Yes.
Um, in the last two sets, we've had the Toe of Stone be yellow and black now instead of brown, and then
Hmm.
this year it is orange and gray.
Well, they're all
And
gray, but it's orange. Yeah.
yeah, the kind of like the behind the scenes on this one is Lego noticed that the brown one was the one that was not being sold the most because all the others had pretty distinct colors, and the brown one was just like most people would
Just
just go for
brown.
the black one if they wanted like the earth one. Why would they want to
Hmm.
go for the brown one? And so marketing at Lego was like, okay, well, let's switch it to like yellow and see how that does. And then yellow didn't do great. So they're like, okay, we could try orange. And orange, I think, did worse than yellow, but still better than brown. And so they did orange and then they swapped back to yellow again.
Yeah. Well, oh, well, they went gold because reasons.
Yeah.
Well, because they go back to brown actually with the
They go back to brown once.
Vosks when we get to Bar
Yeah.
Magna, which is the
Um,
next year after this. So,
yeah. That's
but
they do very well with the brown that year, to be fair.
yeah, well, he had a cool like scorpion stinger tail. All right. But so while the Fantoka are like in this village, or the Toa are in this village, one of the Matoran comes to Kopaka and is like, hey, have this cool rock I found, and it's the first keystone. And there are basically 6 keystones hidden around Kardanui. 3 of them are in the sky and 3 of them are in the swamp because that's how it makes the most sense. Um, but so the Fantoka Toa are sort of first, the Mask of Life is like, hey, Motoro was really cool, I miss him, I really shouldn't have made him kill himself. What I want to be like him. And so the Mask of Life is like, hey, I can manifest a body, I can manifest a cool like sky skateboard, I can give myself one of these cool blasters. And so the Mask of Life creates a body for itself, and we call this Toa Ignika. He's not actually a Toa. He just has the powers of the Mask of Life because it's the Mask of Life, pretending to be a Toa, play
Kind
acting.
of he's a cosplayer right now.
Yeah,
He's pretty good at his job.
I think it's cool. I think it's very confusing for things that happen in the future to have there be a big guy with the Mask of Life this year. When hey, that'll happen again. Have you seen the poster for the Bionicle: The Legend Reborn? That's a different guy. That's not this guy.
Yeah, because this guy's mask is silver, not gold.
This guy's mask
Yeah,
is silver, and that's important for other reasons
Very
we'll get to in a second.
Remember when previous years we said sometimes the masks look different, but have different powers or are different colors? This time it is actually important.
This time it is actually important.
Yeah.
And so Toa Ignika goes up into the skies, and the rest of the Toa Nuva who are there are basically like, hey, we don't know you, but you have the Mask of Life, so we'll trust you for a little bit. And they all go to Makuda's hive. The Makuda's name is Mutron. He's basically like the evil mad scientist. And they're like, hey, this is where the shadow leeches are coming from. We should probably destroy these. But Mutron realizes this and uses his illusion powers, which make Toa Ignika look like a giant Rahi. And the Toa Nuva and their Matorans start fighting him, and he's like, well, this isn't cool. I'm just going to kill you all using my Mask of Life powers. And then they're like, oh, hey, actually, maybe we shouldn't do this.
Wait, let's talk about this.
So then they realize, oh, hey, you have the Mask of Life, and then all of the Makuta show up and knock them unconscious. Also, there's a point in here where the Makuta are like, hey, the Toa Nuva are here. We need help. You guy, go get another Makuta for us. And that guy runs off. So then the Toa Nuva, Liwa and Kopaka and Pohachu, they wake up, and Toa Ignika, they escape, and Toa Ignika sends this whole stalactite that the hive is in crashing to the bottom of the cavern. And then that Makuta Icarax, who's the one that they were like, hey, we need backup, please come help. He shows up and he's like, all right, let's see what's going on here.
Mind you, Icarax in kind of
he's
like
a big deal.
He is a big deal. He killed Botar just
The
a few hours before this. Botar is like one of the strongest members of the Order of Madanui. He can teleport anywhere whenever he wants. And this guy killed him. So, pretty big, important dude.
Yeah. Down in the swamp, the rest of the Toa find 3 more Makuta. Gali finds the 3rd keystone. And then in the sky, the Toa and Matoran abandon the sky village. The Makuta all attack the village, and then the Fantoka are like, well, actually, we're in your hideout. We've got another keystone. And they start doing a big fight. The Mystica Toa then find like some Avmatoran in the swamp. And these Avmatoran are like, hey, it's cool to see you. Goodbye. And they give the Toa Nua another keystone because everything's got to do with these keystones. And then all these Avmatoran turn into Borak and teleport away. And the Toa Nuva are kind of freaked out by that.
Valid. Yeah, I would be too.
Yep.
Which we should quickly mention that is supposed to happen.
Yes, that's supposed.
Like
well, at this point, it's a little cycle. Like, yeah. If they don't turn into Takanuva, they become Borak. Which also that would have been a much different story for the first movie.
Yeah. I think essentially the the way it kind of infers it are like uh they're almost like stem cells where they
Yeah,
change to what they need to be, and oftentimes it ends up being Borak. But it
because we need to clear this island.
yeah, so they're kind of
Um,
interesting little dudes.
yeah. Also, down in the swamp, Tahu finds a structure that's called the Kodrex, and it's a fortress. And there's a keyhole in the Kodrex that's like, hey, this is like the shape of those keystones.
Whoa.
Whoa, wonder what those could be used for. While all of this is happening, Takanuva randomly has been going on like a dimension hopping journey. He got eaten by a shadow leech a little bit, and so now he has shadow powers and light powers, which is just a cool way to explain why he's gray and all gray when he shows up.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, he goes on a fun dimension hopping adventure into the Spider-Verse, and then shows up and he's like, hey, I'm Takanuva, here to help. And the Toa Nuva are like, no, you're not actually, because we know Takanuva and he's our friend and he's gold. What are you?
True.
um and then stuff happens and they actually do trust him.
Yeah,
uh
Gali for some reason can
yeah,
like mentally communicate with Takua and then later Takanuva. So they try that again.
it's because she pondered the deep thoughts.
That's so true.
Indeed. I think it's the great thoughts, technically.
You're I think you're correct, actually.
I'm trying to make a meme out of it, but I can't figure out what the great thoughts will be.
I know. I know. I listened to the episode of this podcast that went up this week before we recorded. I listened. You guys made good points. I enjoyed it.
I think.
So then the Fantoka and the Mystica, they reunite both the Makuta and all the Toa. And the Toa put together, oh, sorry. One of the Mystica Makuta, his name's Kirka. And he's like, hey, actually, we should all back off from the Kodrix. And the rest of the Makuta are like, sure. Okay, I guess. And they do. And so the Toa are like, hey, let's take this minute and let's get in there. So they go in there because, surprise, surprise, the keystones are a key.
Whoa, that's crazy.
I know, right? It's like it's in the name. And inside the Kodrex, they find a bunch of stuff. They find 6 Toa canisters, or where 6 Toa canisters were, because all of their memories keep coming back to them. And actually, it turns out that this is where the Toa Mata, the Toa Nuva, the originally were like trained by the Order of Mata Nui. They spent a lot of time in here doing learning. There are these like energy beings that were attacking, and it used to be a sandy place before all of the ocean water leaked in through that hole in the top. And Liwa makes sand moment again because he tries throwing like a whipping sand up at, or a makes glass moment again, excuse me, because he tries whipping sand up at it at the same time that Tahu tries throwing fire at it. And then, hey, that's able to imprison them. So they're learning to do teamwork and stuff.
Woo. Again.
This isn't,
yeah. How many times have
because they
had
haven't
to
done
learn
that enough.
to-
Yeah, Helrix is here mainly as like a disembodied voice training them. And then because their duty is, hey, if something ever happens to the Great Spirit Mata Nui, you guys have to go wake him up. And
Mhm.
so in their memories, they do all this training, and then they go in Toa canisters, and they stay there for a while.
Yeah.
Until
that
the Great
while
Cataclysm, actually.
Yeah. And that while
Yeah.
ends up being like a long, long while, longer than it was supposed to. Like
Right.
initially, like them being in stasis was fine. Great cataclysm happens, they get launched, and they're stuck out in the ocean for like 1,000 years.
Yeah,
And
before Takua does the stuff
yeah,
to
so
bring them to the ocean, to the island.
they don't wake up. Like when they're in stasis, it's fine. But over the time that they've been in the canisters, their memories have deteriorated. Their biological parts have kind of broken down a little bit. So
Because this is a retcon, but also because things happened that we already saw.
Yeah. Also, we saw that really cool scene in 2001 where Onua puts his body together, and like that
Yeah.
was just a cool little thing. So we
That was
gotta
really
keep that.
cool. Yep. Also inside the Codex, they find some super fast vehicles, and Liwa and Pohachu jump on two of them. And actually, one of the Makuta has snuck in after them, and he steals one. And normally, this vehicle is blue, but on his way out, he crashes into some light stones, and that turns it yellow. And that's why if you buy this Lego set at Target, it's yellow and not blue.
Yep.
Ah.
Limited edition.
Yeah, truly, just like we have to find lore reasons for all of these retail exclusive sets, which is a lot, but
I mean, hey, good on them.
yeah, good on them. So then Pohachu and Liwa are chasing Antraz, who's the Makuta, through the swamp using these vehicles. The vehicles, pretty cool. They're super, super fast. And they're flying around, and eventually Antraz is like, oh, I can get them to crash into each other, and he jumps ship, and Kopaka like jumps in at the last minute and saves all the vehicles so they have all three. This is important.
Kopaka is the goat yet again.
Yeah. Kopaka or Takanuva, meanwhile, has figured out how to turn Shadow Matoran back into Light Matoran, because there's a special Rahi that when it screams at you so bad it scares you back into being good.
Yeah, basically.
Basically. The way they describe it is actually there's a mental wall that's preventing light from returning to them, and it breaks the mental wall. But it's funnier to say, yeah, it's funnier to say it screams at you and turns you good. Because we also love an uncorruption arc in this house.
Also true.
The Keystones say, hey, in order to reawaken Matanui, we need a big, big energy inside the Codex. And that will take the Toa Nuva probably a couple of days to like build up the energy. And we do not have that kind of time because, hey, remember how the Mask of Life is silver now? Actually, it's like getting darker. And the reason for that is because it has initiated a countdown to the destruction of all life in the Matoran universe.
Whoa.
Yeah. Because it can do that for some reason. Like, it's like we made this mask. It has a little bit of sentience. Should we give it the ability to kill everything? Yeah.
Yeah, that seems about right.
Seems like bad planning. And so Toa Ignika has learned to talk at this point, and he's like, I really love being a Toa. And Gali is like, yeah, but Matoro sacrificed himself. Remember that? And Toa Ignika is like, oh, you're right, I guess. I do want to be like Matoro.
She's beating him at his own game of manipulation.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
And so Toa Ignika sacrifices himself and sort of causes this energy spike inside the Codex, which will awaken Matanui. Now, this causes an energy storm to happen inside Cardanui. And that's bad because it's going to destroy everything in here. It's a good thing Takanuva has evacuated everyone back to Metru Nui, all the Matoran, because we got to go to Metru Nui.
Mm-hmm. He also has a portal that takes him there. I don't know how he got the portal. I looked that up. Don't worry, I couldn't find it. It's okay.
We can say it was a thing in the Codex, probably.
Yeah.
It was full of all kinds of stuff.
Sounds good to me.
Also, along this whole time, the Makuta could have killed the Toa and didn't. And there's Anua, I think, is the one who's like, hey, what do they want? Are we actually on different sides? Like, what's going on here? And as it turns out, all the Makuta are just hanging out here because Pterodax told them to. And so the energy storm happens. And some of the Makuta are like, oh, I can tap into this and become all powerful. And that kills them. And the Toa Nuva are like, well, we need to escape out of here on these super fast vehicles. But we could go back and save some Makuta, but actually, if we went back, we would die, and so we can't do that. And so they escape on the super fast vehicles, leaving all of the Makuta to die, but not killing them because that's different.
Yeah, they do have it. It is interesting how long of a discussion they have about we
Yeah.
should go back and save them, but also like we might die if we do that. We probably will. Okay, I
Okay.
guess we won't.
Yeah. They have the conversation though.
Yeah, it was nice of them.
So they escape back to Metro Nui, but all the Makuta that are in Carta Nui die. While this is happening, a lot of other stuff is happening during Bionicle lore. It's a lot.
It's
This is
chaotic.
when that like Suicide Squad with Rudaka forms. This is when the Toa Haga fight the Toa Mari, and then they team up. I don't
Yeah,
know, Toa. Do you have more you want to say about all that
yeah.
stuff?
It's okay. So this is where like in many ways this feels like the year that Bionicle thought that they were not going to be doing anything else. Like it felt like this they thought this might have been their last year.
Yeah.
So they were trying to get a lot of things together. Um or if not their last year, maybe second to last year. And they wanted to use basically every character they could in the stories. And sometimes it was in comics, sometimes it was in side stories. At this point, they've launched an entire website called bioniclestory.com because people were too confused as to what was going on. And it helped kind of.
A little bit. Not
Yeah.
really.
But like again, there's so many different platforms of media that they're on that it didn't really help that much. To where like if you only read the comics, you knew about maybe half of the story. And if you read
Yeah.
the books, you knew most of the story, but not all of it. There were fragments everywhere. So this is a year where like a bunch of background stuff is going on, and this feels like
Mhm.
this is like the Avengers getting together kind of moment where you're like,
Yes.
oh, these characters are interacting with these characters, and I never would have expected.
Yeah.
So yeah, this whole thing, there's a bunch of stuff happening all over the Toa Mari. They're mostly defending Metro Nui, but they actually have this whole mission where they take they take the heart of the Vizirac, which is what allows a being to control the Vizirac. They take it and they go put it next to a volcano that's about to erupt and then leave. And all the Vizirac go to the volcano and die.
Dang,
It's
I thought the
really
Toa
weird.
couldn't kill.
They're not. They're just
They're Vizirac.
rocky, I guess.
Listen, the Vizirac are cool.
But yeah, so they go back to Metro Nui. The Toa Haga are now in charge of looking for Pterodax because nobody knows where he is, but things are going south, and so it can't be a good thing.
Yeah.
Um, so
And so they end up like needing to dig up a bit of Metro Nui, and the Toa Mari are like, hey, this is a restricted area, you can't be here.
yeah,
And the Toa Haga, who are now no longer the Rahaga because the Order of Matanui was like, hey Rudaka, can you reverse this pretty please? And Rudaka was like, ugh, fine, I guess. They're Toa again, and so they actually team up with the Toa Mari and like find stuff under the Colosseum in Metro Nui, and there's
yeah,
actually like 2 fully organic beings that are down here, and like sort of hints of pterodax. It's like a weird, it's not good, it's
yeah.
foreboding.
It's very weird. It's so like they initially were like, we need to destroy the Colosseum and get under it, and the Tomari are like, maybe not. Like we just got here, we just fixed this
Yeah.
thing. So their other plan is they're like, hey Hookie, can you just lift the whole Colosseum? And
And he's like, yeah, sure.
like he does, but he passes out afterwards, and there's like it's just funny to me that that's their plan. But yeah, they go
It's a
underneath.
good plan, frankly.
They see a lot of weird stuff, including references to a place that they'd never heard of called Barra Magna. I'm sure that's not important for later.
Yeah, no, yeah.
They run into like energy beings and organic beings and like just weird stuff. And eventually, like they
Yeah.
start hearing Pterodax's voice, and they're like, "Oh, we're getting close to him. We'll get there." Um, and while they're all doing that, like the Toahaga end up like getting saved by another team from the Order of Matanui that's made up of Axon, Brutaka, Kitongu, which we love, Helrix, and the original Makuta leader, Makuta Mizrix, who he was saved by the like Suicide Squad that we mentioned earlier.
Yeah.
He's also the one that killed. I think he killed Karapar. He
Yeah.
definitely
The
killed.
Suicide Squad was some of the Baraki, some of the Paraka, and Rudaka.
Yeah. Well, and they also had
Oh, and
another
Brutaka.
and Brutaka and Bizon. I guess that's one of the
Yeah.
Braka, but and
Yeah, because
another Makuta.
Brutaka is good again.
Yeah. And another Makuta named Spiria, who is not very important. He has a cool set. But then he shows up and he's like, "Hey, former leader that I betrayed, how's it going?" And the first thing that Mizrix does is like, "Okay, you're dead." Kills him immediately and is like, "Okay, let's have a conversation. What's going on?"
Yeah.
Which I can respect.
Oh, yes, because Spiria was the combo Makuta of if you got Antraz and Toa Fantoka.
Yeah, fun little set combo.
Yeah.
And then at the end of all of this, they're Rakshi start to storm Metronui, and that's a good time for the the Dark Hunter Voparak to break in and take the Mask of Time. It's not very significant, but it is something that happens and kind of ties up his plot a little bit more.
Yeah, because he was like weirdly aging, right?
Yeah, he ages everything around him.
Oh, he ages everything around him. Yes.
Yeah, so he
King
wanted to get
Midas
the Mask of
style.
Time to like fix that, I guess. But also nobody trusts him, so they didn't want him to have it. And then at the same time, they were trying to get the Dark Hunters to help them against the Makuta, and that kind of helped and worked a little bit, but then it also didn't. So it's mostly the Toa Metru, or not the Toa Metru, the Toa Mari are fighting off Rakshi.
Rahi.
They're attacking the city alongside the Matoran that are there, and it's a big battle. Everything's going down. They're just waiting for the the Toa Nuva to return and say that they were victorious.
And they do. The Toa Nuva come flying in on their cool new vehicles, and they say, "Hey, everybody, we awoke the Great Spirit, Matanui. It was our destiny. We did it." And there's a big party in the Great Coliseum of Metronui. Now's when we get the reveal that this is all happening inside a giant robot. Sorry for spoiling that. Also, it's been out for over 15 years at this point, so I stand corrected, or I stand vindicated.
The other thing too is like that was a big plot point for the whole thing. And some of the literature they released, some of the books they released that year.
You have a giant stack of books, Toa.
I do, and this is
half of them. It feels very academic for you to be like, some of the literature they released.
The literature I was reading through.
Professor of Bionicology.
Honestly,
they eventually released a map of where like all the islands are, and if you look at it, it's like, oh yeah, that is just a dude.
Yeah. Which also it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Don't worry about it. Trying to think about how any physical location relates to any other physical location in the Matoran universe will break your brain. I have done it. Don't do it. Especially like Voyanui, Marinui, Cardanui. It's like they're all kind of the same place. Except Cardanui's under it.
Yeah. Don't chart the
Don't think about
like
it.
you can, but like it
don't.
That's one of those like blurry edges.
It's like when you see a cool spaceship in a TV show, and then you from the outside and from the inside, and you try to think, how does that all fit together? It doesn't usually. Don't think about it.
Yeah. So
This is what I think of like Xenoblade Chronicles and like the giant
Oh yeah,
robots, and
sure,
it's
yeah.
very
it
Xenoblade.
would be
Yeah,
cool to get like a Bionicle open world, big giant robot game. Probably not too feasible, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, so we find out he's a giant robot, and this has been hinted from the beginning. Initial concept art was actually in the first few years. The plan was rather than going from Marinui or from Matanui to Metronui, too many M names.
yep.
They actually were going to go out to these islands that just emerged in the distance. And those islands were actually going to be the fingers of Matanui
ooh,
peeking out. It was a really
Oh,
cool
cool.
concept. I
yeah.
kind of wish they had gone with it because it would have been really nifty,
Yeah.
but I like how they went with it.
It's also like very Boiling Isles, like from the Owl House.
I
Yeah.
was thinking Eternals with the
Yeah.
giant
With the celestial
celestial,
and the earth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
okay, side note, I realize that Eternals is just a Bionicle movie
Yep.
because you have the heroes, the color themed heroes, and the like giant robot, and the but in this one, they're obviously working against the. But yeah, anyway.
Yeah.
No, you're correct.
Oh, and it's all like about
And
unity and teamwork, and
yeah.
yeah,
And
they're fighting like
uh
weird alien creatures.
Yeah. And they're
and
kind of
Jon Snow is
artificial
there.
beings too. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
If
the
you're looking
robot
for a good
E.
Yeah.
if you're looking for a good Eternals comic to read, I highly recommend Kieran Gillen's run that I want to say started in like 2019ish. Um it's really good. And yeah. I'm always going to plug a Kieran Gillen comic cuz he's one
Yeah,
of my favorite
yeah.
authors, but yeah.
I like Young Avengers style over Substance. That's my favorite.
Yeah, Avengers is not my favorite work that he has done,
We
but
we've
he has
had
also
this
done a lot of work.
conversation.
Speaking of things that are comics, hey, everyone's partying in the Great Coliseum, because we've won. The Great Spirit Montanui has risen. He's now standing up on the planet Aqua Magna.
Good thing we
There
didn't
was a
destroy that Coliseum.
yep.
Awkward.
There was a little animatic that was released that accompanied this,
Mhm.
and it was basically just like 3 minutes of this robot standing up, and it was really cool and really epic. And
Yeah.
then the
Did you
robot
see
stands up, and his
one
eyes are
visual I want to?
green.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
One
I
visual I
was
want
just
to
gonna
point
get to
out.
the toys.
Oh yeah, yeah. Is just like it. It zooms in on the island of Matanui, and then
Mhm.
you see it start to break apart, and this face push
Yes.
out through from behind. Which a lot of the names being based off of the Maori language,
Mhm.
Matanui just means big face in Maori. The sign's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Uh, the tallest mountain is called Mount Ihu. Ihu means nose. It's
Love
there.
that. Love that.
So yeah, it's a good time. But
Yeah.
yeah, visually stands up. They do a great job with all the cinematics and
Yeah.
letting you know how big he truly is.
Yeah. And he stands up, and there's a moment of rest as he just stands there. And then his eyes turn red. And it's very foreboding.
Which must be a good thing because when
It's a
Bakama's
good
eyes
thing,
turned
probably.
red, he was becoming a good guy again.
Yeah.
So that must be a good thing, right?
Well, also, yeah, it's not like the Toa Nuva all had like green eyes this year, and all the Makuta had red eyes this year.
No.
Um,
What?
but so Metru Nui inside the Coliseum, the celebrations sort of quiets because everything goes a little dark. And the stars rearrange themselves to form the shape of the Mask of Shadows, which is Makuta Pterodax's mask. And as we all know, astrology is real in the Matorian universe. And everyone's like, that's probably not good. And they can hear Pterodax's laughter throughout all of the universe. And the Toa are like, we'll fight you, Pterodax. And he's like, how are you going to fight the air you breathe? How are you going to fight the ground you walk on? I am the universe now. I've won. And there's one thing that could stop me, and that's Matanui. But I've put him in the Mask of Life, and I have fired it out into space, never to return. And basically, y'all have to deal with me now because I've won. And we end on the Mask of Life, which is once again gold because the countdown has stopped and it's no longer in the Matoran universe.
Mhm.
And it is flying through the depths of space. And Matanui has one thought, which is that I will return.
Dun, dun, dun.
Dun, dun,
What a
dun, dun.
cliffhanger.
And then
Yeah.
the next year of sets, we're not going to get into here, but the next year of sets don't deal with any characters we've seen before. And that is like the cliffhanger ending. And I was like, wait, what? I'm sorry. Hello?
Yeah.
I just met all those guys and they were my friends and they lost. And now you are telling me something else is happening?
Yeah, it's like if at the end of the like Infinity War, we had like a side story about new characters we've never met for like
Yeah.
2 years. And then we're like, oh yeah, here's Endgame too, by the way.
Yeah.
uh
Ugh.
yeah, this is, I mean, this really feels like a soft reboot point
It
of,
is. It's also like wild as a jumping. Like I know they wanted
yeah,
to continue Bionicle after when it was like when it ended. And so like it makes sense to have a jumping on point, but also as a person that like jumped on in 2008, it was like okay, I was in here for like the story coming to an end and then ending on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, you made me learn the difference between Kreka, Krika, Kraka, and the Krakan just to find out I don't even need to know what a mask power is.
Yeah.
What?
yeah, I wonder how much damage that did to the brand, or if it was
I
already kind of
yeah.
tarnished then. Which, okay, so John and I have talked a lot about this, since this is a ostensibly a
Mhm.
podcast about toy franchises, about
Yes.
how every your audience for toy franchises and for the media around it turns over very, very quickly.
Yes.
So you have new kids who you want to onboard, and you want to have like a getting off point for the kids who have grown out of it. um
Mhm, mhm.
so I'm surprised that Bionicle lasted this long as like a continuous arc. I guess, yeah, 7-8 years, that's not too much, but you think like there's a
Yeah.
new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every, what, 5-6 years, a new Batman animated series, a new My Little Pony, all of these things. So yeah, it makes sense that they're going, okay, well, we want to keep the story that we have had thus far because it's actually kind of popular, but
Mhm.
it's also very unwieldy at this point. So we're gonna kind of strike off in a new direction, and try and introduce these new ideas. I think it's maybe a precursor to what the MCU did with their Phase 4 stuff of, hey, we kind of want to keep this going because it's making us a lot of money, but also we want more people to be able to join. And then
Yeah.
maybe ended up in trying to
And then they
serve both of
failed.
those things,
Yeah.
kind of shot themselves in the foot. I do like a lot of MCU Phase 4, but yeah, it is sort of,
It's
and
yeah.
I do
I
like
mean
some
it's
of the Bionicle stuff that comes after this, but yeah, it's,
I yeah, I don't know. For me the thing about Bionicle was always like the elemental powers are really cool
yeah,
and they don't do that after this year. Like it's just like these are people and they live in the jungle village or the ice village or the water village or whatever, but they don't really have elemental powers.
Yeah. They don't even
Um
have mask powers after
they
this
don't
either.
have mask powers. They have cool looking faces and helmets, but they don't have mask powers.
Basically every set release going forward aside from the last year, or the final sets
Yeah.
are just dudes that can fight really well and have
Yes.
gun most of the time.
Yeah.
So it's an interesting turn. I think out of like story side, Lego was hitting a really weird point because Bionicle wasn't doing as well. It still had really good name recognition. It was the like Nintendo of the time where
yeah,
like
Sure, yeah.
parents would be like, "Oh, are you playing with your Bionicles?" And it would be like, a bin of like action figures and other things like that. Um it had really good name recognition. But aside from that, Bionicle is really costly to make, and they were starting to lose. Uh, the kids were kind of growing out of it, and it was getting too
Hmm.
complicated for most of the kids to follow. And so the soft reboot was like, I think their plan to keep it going. Again, this is still
Yeah,
their
yeah,
first or one of their first like really storied um like set releases. They do have like I believe it's Knight's Kingdom, which does have
Yeah.
a story as well, but it's a very simple story, and it
Well, and they had the Exoforce, whatever the like anime mech
yeah,
story was also very like simple, like humans versus robots, but like they were starting to do more stories with more of their properties.
yeah.
Like there wasn't really a story for like Mars Mission or Space Police or like Power Miners other than like they mined even farther down now. Like
Yeah. Yeah. So this is kind of like their test. Like what how far can we push it? And I think
mhm.
2008 like it was a very popular year, but the story got really complicated and now people were starting to feel like they couldn't get involved as much. And it's not to the fault of the story writers as much, in my opinion. Like the story writers do a great job
Yeah.
of creating a story based off of images that they see of sets that are currently being made.
yeah,
Um, but the tricky part is keeping everybody engaged and not like isolating any groups, knowing that you do have this high turnover rate coming in and going out. And I
Yeah.
think an unfortunate part is the Bionicle movies did a great job of carrying that story throughout. After the movies stop, we do have a major Bionicle game, Bionicle Heroes, does really well.
Mhm.
And then we have the Mario year, and we have a good couple Flash games, but they're not as well marketed. 2008 rolls around. We don't really have anything besides a few Flash games now. We have
Yeah.
comics. We, again, don't have any major games. We don't have any movies. So Bionicle marketing wise is not doing great. And then cost wise, I mentioned earlier, Bionicle, why it really stood out is every piece had a really intricate mold.
Yeah.
And the molds were really cool and they could be reused a lot, but they weren't reused all that much. Oftentimes they would create a new mold for each Paraka head or each mask or each et cetera, et cetera. And that started to become a problem because Lego, in and of itself as a company, was running out of storage. That's around the time they implemented the policy of if we have not used a piece in 5 years, we're getting rid of the mold because they were just making molds for everything. Um, and so around this time, I think Lego executives were trying to figure out okay, do we continue with Bionicle? Like, will it make up the sales that we need it to,
Mhm.
or do we switch to something else? And I think the next series is kind of their final test of can we do enough with this, or do we need to change up the formula?
Yeah.
Um, and so this is like the last point of super rich story. From this point forward, we do still have story, and I do think, despite running out of like their runway to keep going, they tie up the story pretty well overall.
Yeah.
Um, it is like this kind of gets to the peak of the storytelling in Bionicle, where it's like everything's happening all at once. Here's the climax. The villain wins.
Yes. What?
What happens next?
As a kid,
yeah,
the
yeah.
villain wins? What?
Yeah.
And
Um,
now we're going to go to a desert planet and it's got I don't know. I was trying to make a Tatooine joke. That's nothing.
Oh, I
Um
was gonna reference Dune.
yeah, that's the other. There you go. I mean, it is very. You did say it does grow to like Dune lore proportions, and it
Yeah,
does feel very like. Listen, I am an adult nerd. I'm not touching Dune because there's so much. I will delve into a Bionicle wiki though.
Yeah. And it's not just like Dune in terms of scale, but in terms of like wars over resources and stuff like that. I don't
Yeah.
know how much of a, I mean, that's just kind of in the air at that point culturally. Sort
Right.
of like Avatar dealing with unobtainium and yeah, just a lot of that kind of
Yeah.
stuff going
Well,
on.
it's a good driver of story.
Yeah.
Like you need conflict. So
Yeah.
Mostly just like the 2001 to 2008 story is like they have a clear goal. The goal the whole time is they awaken Mata Nui. And they kind of say that they've awoken Mata Nui at least 2 or 3 times before they
Yeah.
actually do.
Yeah.
And even then it's kind of a bit of an asterisk because it's actually Makuta. But they make it a really clear goal. So the storyline through to that point, it has this clear like finale,
mhm.
which I think ends up working really, really well for it. Um, and just in general, it's a lovely like little hidden detail that some people picked up on really early on, like the Metro Nui scene where both the moons have eclipses at the same time.
Mhm.
I remember being with one of my friends in a room and them being like, "Are they inside a giant robot? I guess that would make sense." And then being
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I'm convinced that that's the case." And I'm like, I don't think that's enough evidence for it, but that's an interesting theory. And then sure enough, it happened. So just a lot of
Yeah.
really cool storytelling. Um, the sets for that for the last year were really cool. We touched on them a little bit. We didn't touch on the Mystica
Oh,
Makuta
we
sets
didn't.
as much, but they had
Those are, I
some
think, the
really
coolest ones.
yeah, they had some really cool pieces. They went with like an insectoid approach,
Yep.
which is just fascinating. Like when you look at a lot of like sci-fi media, oftentimes you see like, okay, there's the underwater, there's the space, there's the flying, there's the this.
Yeah.
Insect is not the one that you normally get to, but I love that that's how they went with this. We got
Mhm.
some really cool, unique custom pieces out of it. Like Gorast's wings
Yep.
stand out as these like bug wings.
They're like
Just
translucent fly
yeah,
wings.
and like holographic kind of texture to them.
Mhm. Mhm.
Just some really cool stuff. I think the failing point for a lot of fans this year was trying to connect the Toa of this year to the previous iterations of those Toa. Like Golly now has a weird waffle eye, and Tahu's mask doesn't look like Tahu's mask. And
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of speculation in the community of trying to figure out.
Were they supposed to be the Toa Nuva?
Yeah, there were a lot of fan theories I've seen circulating of it would make more sense for these to be like a institutionalized or sorry reinstated Toahaga,
Sure. Yeah.
which would make a lot of sense, or a completely new set of Toa or anything like that. Um, but I think story wise, the writers made the right choice here in making them
Mhm.
familiar characters because they also introduced so many new characters this year.
Yeah.
All the Makuta, all the Matoran. There's a lot.
And everyone's
All the
back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It truly is like Smash Ultimate. Like
Yeah.
everyone is here.
Yep. Very much so.
Oh, also, we did not say this. The reason that Pterodax told all the rest of the Makuta to go to Cardanui was because he knew they were going to die in the energy storm, and he didn't want them to fight him for control of the big robot.
Yeah. Yeah. They expound upon this in like the behind the scenes stories kind of stuff where
Mhm.
it's like not part of the main story, but the whole plan the whole time was for them to kill Mata Nui. And right as Atoa was reviving Mata Nui, just flip the switch, hot swap
Mhm.
out, and then take control.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating when you approach Pterodax from that perspective because now there's a whole depth to his intellect as a
Yeah.
character.
He's not just the shadow guy that he was in early years. Now he's like actually, yeah.
I
Yeah.
do. Part of me wonders, like, if you try and track that throughout the entire arc of the story, does that track to his motivations moment to
I
moment?
mean,
But
probably
I mean,
not.
this is comic book storytelling, so you can't really
Yeah.
hold it up to quite that level of scrutiny.
Yeah. It's the justification that I've heard is whenever he's in that like big bad scary form, he's just trying to be scary so
Okay.
that the heroes are like they have a villain to fight towards to
Mhm.
get them to the point of okay, we have enough heroes to send someone to sacrifice themselves.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is
But
also
also,
not
like, that is a fan theory that is like
yeah.
coming from the point of where we are now.
Yeah.
It's very easy to look back at the early stuff and through the lens of what we know now reinterpret it, right? Like,
hmm
that's how comic book storytelling works.
Yeah.
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 Listen, I'm having fun talking with you guys. We have talked for 4 hours and I do need food. So
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
dare
We
you? I
could.
thought you could absorb through your fingers.
I
That's what we've
can't.
been learning this whole time.
I've only be absorbing my microphone, which I don't think would actually be very helpful.
Yeah. We
Iron
can
though.
we can wrap things up here. I think we've said our piece
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
this era. We've gotten people from Web of Shadows. We will be back next week to talk about Bionicle, the Legend Reborn. And in the meantime, make sure to follow us on social media. We are Binging Barbie Podcast on Instagram and Tumblr, Binging Barbie on Twitter and Serialized, and Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast on Letterboxd. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to leave a 5-star review and go check out our Patreon page where you can get access to new episodes a week early. But yeah, thank you both for being here and for walking us through this whole thing.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah. It was fun.
Yeah,
Can't wait to finish off the saga of Bionicle next episode.
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Bye,
bye,
Botar.
Barbie. Bye,
Bye, Botar.
Botar. So Sam has prepared a little game for us here. So let's see what's in store.
All right. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We have 8 elements. 2 of them are female. So I'm going to let you guys
Okay.
guess. So we have plant life or the green because there are multiple Bionicle wikis and they say different things.
Mhm.
We have lightning, iron, magnetism, which again, lightning and magnetism are the same force. Maybe it's different inside the Great Spirit Mountain Nui, but whatever. Plant life, lightning, iron, magnetism, gravity, plasma, sonics, and psionics. So 2 of them are female aligned.
I'm gonna go with plasma and green, whatever the green one was.
Yeah, sure.
Lightning, plasma.
Toa, do you have a guess?
So I'm pretty sure I know. There is an exception to one of them,
Yes, there is.
but I know psionics for sure
Yes.
locked.
Aside from the first one who was too violent and then they made the rest female because they thought women were gentler, according to the wiki I was looking at, which again, why you have to align genders with elements?
Yeah,
Also, it's like they're all androgynous. It really doesn't matter.
yeah. In the Matoran universe, it doesn't matter.
Which
Outside-
again, self-expression, great, but like,
Yeah. And then I believe it's lightning. I'm not
yeah,
100% on that.
that is correct. That was it. That was what I had.
Those would not have
Again,
been my guesses.
Yeah, the edge cases. Yeah, again, also like the edge cases are much more interesting to me. Of like, we've seen Toa of stone. I want to see a Toa of magnetism.
Yeah.
Is
And,
that
like,
Magneto? Yes.
It's interesting too because like we have Toa of Earth and Toa of Stone, right? And there's
Which are
already like
basically the same. Also, like,
Yeah,
why
there's-
did you make them separate elements?
a weird blurred line of like what is the difference between these two? But then you have magnetism, iron, and lightning, and you're like,
Yep.
where's that line between all of them?
And also gravity is just like such a wild like It's great.
Yeah.
But I'm like, huh.
It's weird
And then
too because they have Kanoka discs of gravity. They have a mask of gravity. And then they
right.
just decided, oh yeah, we need an element as well.
Well, it's like Nuju's mask also is a mask of telekinesis, right? But then like
Sure.
that's psionics also.
Yeah.